Hey y'all, my name is Hannah, and today I'm going to be reacting to spring 2023 fashion trends. I think trends in aesthetics, in fashion, and in beauty are really interesting. I think that some trends are actually kind of designed and launched to lead us down that path of buying, always something more, always chasing the best, the most perfect, the edgiest thing. And that is fruitless. That will get you nowhere but bankruptcy and unhappiness, actually. We do it because we think it's going to make us happy. It just makes you unhappy. But some trends bust onto the screen feeling like it's what we've all been waiting for and are things, and this is critical for me, things that you can access without necessarily having to run right out and buy something new. So in the video, I'm going to be breaking these trends down, basically separating them into these two categories the way I see it. And if you're new to my channel and you find yourself enjoying this, I hope that you will decide to subscribe. Now let's go ahead and get into the meat of this video. So I'm drawing from this late February Vogue article. These are the spring 2023 trends Vogue editors are wearing now. The first trend is perfectly imperfect, which I gather from the article is talking primarily about frayed and raw hems on garments. So an unfinished hem, a slit that looks like it was created by a tear in the fabric, and that sort of raw-edged, thread dangling, finished hem. I'm seeing also like a dip-dyed hem. There's an organic quality, a half-finished quality. It's a very materials-forward trend. Now, I was surprised to see this, and I have a long history with this kind of thing. I feel like for a lot of my 20s, this was my aesthetic. Like, I was obsessed with a raw hem. And when I got into making my own clothes, I was always messing with this kind of thing. Just like tearing the edge, messing with the edge of the fabric to make it even more torn up, figuring out what I had to do to a garment to get the unfinished hem, the rawness of the finishing to look clearly intentional instead of look like an accident. I think I love it because I love anything that balances structure and boundaries with an organic quality. Like, it has the shape of a dress, that's where the structure is, but then it's like coming unraveled at the bottom, and that's sort of the organic quality. I've always been a big fan of that kind of juxtaposition. But I also love the unpreciousness kind of this kind of finishing on a garment. And I like that it's so materials forward. It kind of puts the fabric itself and the threads that it's made of right in your face instead of sort of tucking and ironing and sewing it all away. So part of me is a little bit like on this because I feel like I went through it. I went through a phase where this was all I wanted, kind of a long phase. And it's been a long time since then, and I don't have stuff like this in my wardrobe anymore. But fundamentally, I love it. And it's for all of those reasons that I cited, but also because it's something that's so easy to DIY. Like, the Prada skirt that is being spotlit in this article is $2,500. The big thing about it is that the dye is irregular and the slit up the side has like a torn and frayed edge. Because of the irregularity, this is the kind of thing that it's so easy to make your own version of. You can get a vintage silk slip or a silk skirt at a thrift shop, dip it in some dye, and, rip off the hem, and you'll have your own version of this. And it's kind of that thing, like, did it cost $2,500 at Prada, or did she make it herself over the weekend? I'm really here for that and feeling a little inspired. So I'm going to give this trend the green light. I feel like it's on our side. It's on the side of good. Trend number 2, blazers become cinched. This, to me, is the complete opposite of the trend that we just discussed. The trend we just discussed is fluid, organic, open-ended, kind of leaves room for everyone to make their own version. This right here is a classic money-draining revolving door out to get you trend. Blazers, I feel like, are never not trendy, and blazers have been actively and aggressively trending, like literally on these lists for a long time. But it's not about the fact that blazers are on here. It's about the fact that it's like a really specific way to tailor a blazer that's showing up. So a blazer is an investment, right? A nice one. I mean, that's the kind of thing that it's a hefty, significant piece of clothing. And especially if you're in this world and you're like getting a designer one, I mean, that's not the same as t-shirt or even a pair of jeans. And for the past several years, I feel I haven't done it, but I feel like we have been pursuing the perfect, slouchy, oversized blazer. It's been like the boyfriend blazer, you know? Boxy cut, long, oversized, the exact opposite of a cinched blazer, except that they're both blazers. So I feel like what this trend is saying is that really lovely, really potentially expensive investment piece that you finally decided to spring for just 6 months ago in the end of season sales, that beautiful slouchy oversized Anina Bing blazer that you finally got your hands on after 2 years of waiting. It's out of style now because it's not cinched waist. Now cinched waist blazers are in, and you can't wear that slouchy blazer anymore because it will look passé, it'll look last season. If you have to go out, get another one, and it has to be this exact one. But we all know that that door is going to revolve, and in some number of months or years, the cinched waist blazer is going to be so spring of 2023, and it's going to be some other slightly different style or cut of blazer that is the one that is so now and the one that's on the nose. I hate this kind of thing. I hate a trend that encourages people to go out and buy a very slightly different version or slightly different manifestation of what should be a core staple wardrobe item that they maybe already have, especially if it's something that really by rights should be an investment piece, because there's a big difference between a shoddily made blazer and a really beautifully made blazer. If I ever do acquire a blazer, I hope that it'll be like a really, really beautifully made one, maybe something that I buy secondhand or in an end of season sale. And I don't want to turn around then and be told that a slightly different cut of blazer is now in style. This is the kind of trend that to me is evocative of like the hemlines rising and falling by a couple of inches every 6 months, like that sort of eye-rolly sarcastic way of talking about the ridiculousness of needing to be on the very, very cutting edge, having your finger on the very pulse of what's popular in fashion and not being okay with appearing in anything else. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got money for that. I'm against it. Okay, trend number 3, moto inspired. This is, again, the exact opposite. It's vague, right? So moto inspired, there's a leather jacket with a moto inspired zipper. There's a sort of edgy but flowy leather skirt. I feel like that's pushing it a little for moto inspired. There's a leather bag that has big silver buckles on it. There's some moto boots. There's a good chance that you already have something in your closet that hits on this trend from one angle or another. It's not forcing you to run out and buy something really specific. It's not forcing you to reject stuff that you already have. And it never goes out of style, I feel. I feel like these moto-inspired details, there's always a place for them. They're always cool, you know? You can always work them into an outfit without it feeling out of season or off trend. And so when something like this comes around and is sort of being extra celebrated, maybe on the runways or in the shops, it feels just a little bit more like an opportunity, a revisiting, like an indulging in an aesthetic that we all sort of know and love. It feels open-ended and generous rather than constricted and exclusionary like the cinched waist blazer thing. So I'm here for it. Next trend, bold color bottoms. So brightly colored pants is what they're showing, like bright red pants, bright pink, bright orange, bright blue. You know, I'm not that into the brights. Most of my wardrobe isn't brights, but there's nothing I love more than a monochromatic outfit, like head to toe cherry red. And I have this bright blue sweater that I recently acquired. And the one thing about it is that I don't have a bright blue skirt or pants to use to make it a fully monochromatic outfit from top to bottom. And I've sort of been thinking about keeping an eye out for one, like in the thrift shops and the consignment shops, a pair of cobalt blue pants, basically. So it's really interesting to see this cropping up because literally just a couple of days ago, I was kind of scheming, making this plan, thinking, I think I might want some cobalt blue pants. I'm sort of just going to keep an eye out for them, even though this isn't usually the kind of thing that really, really excites me these days. So it's one of those sort of woo-woo moments that happens with trends. I think it's like, where do they come from? They come from everywhere. They come from all of our brains. I feel like I sort of dreamed it into existence. And so for that reason, and also for the reason of just what I automatically imagine when I see these bubblegum pink pants is I see them paired with a bubblegum pink ruffled button-down blouse, just like the head-to-toe thing, the full effect. It's harder to find the bottom half in that situation. Like if you're trying to complete a look, a monochromatic bright look, it's harder to find the pants. So I'm happy to see it trend trending for that just aesthetic reason, like my own personal feeling about what might be fun to do. But I also don't necessarily object to this at large because I feel like, again, it's a broad enough trend that it's not going to go out of style and be noticeably last year. So if you buy a pair of cherry red pants, even if nobody's talking about bright pants next spring, you can find a way to work them in. They're going to be great. If you love them, if they work with your style, if they work with your wardrobe, they're going to be great forever. And again, it might already be something that you have. And now you can pull out those bright red pants knowing that it's aggressively on trend. Next up, bright white footwear. Why? Why white footwear? The least practical color for a shoe. Very appealing. I'll hand them all that. I understand the appeal of like a white driving moccasin or a white sneaker. I mean, I've been known to have a white sneaker or two in the past. And yes, there's nothing like that crisp, bright white color for a shoe. So I'm not against this necessarily on aesthetic grounds. I think from time to time, a white shoe can be really special. And if you choose wisely the material, the occasion for which you're buying the shoe, like the way in which you might wear it, how dirty it's likely to get, how easy it's going to be to clean, how much you'll care if it gets dirty. If you choose wisely, then yes, a white shoe can be special. And I don't think all white shoes are ugly. I just feel like when it's here on this list, like white footwear is trending, it takes on a little bit of another character. It makes it feel like something you can only afford. If you have a huge shoe collection and you're able to just save your white shoes only for the days when it hasn't rained in a couple of days and there's no mud, or you're definitely taking a taxi from place to place, or you're, I don't know, on a cruise. That's how I feel about this trend. It's like white footwear is trending for people who can opt to pack their bright white pumps for the cruise because they know that there's not going to be grime and mud on the cruise ship deck. So they can like walk the cruise ship deck in those bright white pumps and look on trend. For the rest of us, it's a choice, I feel, to have a white shoe. And so it feels like a pass. It feels a little laughable to be told that white shoes are trending, and it just feels like a pass. Next up, the sculptural statement earring. I love a sculptural anything, piece of clothing, piece of furniture, accessory. I love anything sculptural. Very pleased to see sculptural earrings trending. And this is just purely selfish, right? I am a huge fan of sculptural earrings specifically. I have very little other jewelry. I never really got on board much with the like delicate jewelry trend. I have a little bit of delicate gold jewelry in like my other ear holes up here, but I usually reserve my front earring holes for sculptural statement earrings. But the thing about this trend is if it's not your thing, if you don't feel comfortable in a statement earring, just skip it. I think if someone were to respond to this trend by going out and buying a bunch of sculptural earrings and just packing their jewelry box with them to be on trend, you know, it's like, oh, they're trending, so like let's get a bunch and only wear those, and you know that they're trending and so that's why you wear them. That doesn't make sense to me. That feels like a sort of hollow way to interact with a trend. If you feel the most comfortable in delicate jewelry, just stick with your delicate jewelry. Nobody will ever be like, where are her sculptural earrings, you know? But for me, this is just exciting because I feel like I won't have to hunt and peck as much for the next year or so for the kinds of things that I really love. I feel like there's going to be more of an abundance of them. Detailed denim. This article is presenting this trend as detailed denim. And what they mean is like stuff that's not jeans made out of denim. Like a denim maxi skirt with a denim belt tied around the hips, a denim vest, a denim maxi skirt with denim laces up the sides. It's like this pieced together patchwork kind of denim thing. Sometimes I just have a visceral aesthetic reaction to something, and then it's a little bit hard for me to see the forest for the trees. Like it's hard for me to back up and sort this trend into the appropriate basket according to the overarching organization of the video, because I just am looking at these garments and I'm feeling like it's a no. Like it's the kind of thing you see someone wearing, especially if you see someone who you can tell has expensive clothing. Like if you see someone with a really expensive bag, expensive jewelry, or expensive designer sunglasses, and then they're also wearing these like patchwork bell-bottom jeans, you're like, oh, you know that those jeans probably cost $820 at Net-a-Porter, but they reek of just blind trend following. That's how I feel about this whole category of thing. All of these denim, structured denim, weird things. I like jeans. I actually don't even really own that many jeans, but I appreciate jeans as jeans, like denim jeans. I think can look really great with an outfit. I think can be a really great part of a wardrobe. And occasionally I see a denim jacket that I'm not mad at, but generally I'm not into like building other stuff out of denim. And I'm sorry I can't be more articulate about why, because it's not necessarily the cheekiness of it. It just looks ugly. It looks ugly to me. And I think there is something, the closest I've gotten to explaining why I viscerally reject this trend is that there is something about it that speaks of blind trend following without an actual aesthetic sense behind it. And maybe that's coming from past experiences, like people I've known, times when this kind of thing has trended in the past, living through the 90s as like a preteen. I mean, maybe it's coming from like deep places in like where my aesthetic sense was formed when I was younger. If you feel like I feel about this, maybe you can explain it better. But let's finish on an upswing, the tailored look. This article is saying the tailored look is trending, citing neo-minimalism going down the runway. Runway shows which emphasize chic tailoring and crisp white shirting. You know what I'm going to say. This is a great trend because it's timeless. Many of us have shirting of some kind in our wardrobes. This trend does not exclude the oversized blazer, right? Because that's still the tailored look. Tailored pants. I love a tailored pant. And this kind of thing, if you were to acquire a piece like this because it's trending right now, if it really resonates with you and you go out and get a crisp white shirt because it's trending right now, this is the kind of thing that will never not look chic, except for all those bees out there thinking that cinched blazers are the only blazers this season. Unless you're with that crowd, these are just inevitably, I think, always going to be forever pieces. Neo-minimalist, tailored things that can be combined with other things, even if you're not into the minimalist look. A crisp white shirt can always be combined with like a brightly colored pant or a printed skirt or something. It's always going to elevate. It's always going to be beautiful. And I just love seeing something trend that, again, is open-ended enough, accessible enough, timeless enough to feel like it isn't just like going in and out of that revolving door, and also to feel like you don't necessarily need to spend a bucket load of money to get the exact specific thing. That may be one of the things that bothers me about the denim stuff too, is just a little bit specific, and it's just like maybe you have some sort of lace-up denim skirt in the back of your wardrobe and you can pull it out with gusto now that you know that it's trending again. But I feel like for a lot of people, it's the $820 jeans at Net-a-Porter, you know what I mean, to hop on that trend. Whereas with this one, it's like you could go to a thrift shop with an eye to collecting a couple of pieces that can be repurposed to build a neo-minimalist tailored wardrobe, and you can find them. So I'm a big fan of that one. Happy to see it on the list, and that is going to do it. What a roller coaster. Just on this one trends list from Vogue, we're really seeing clear standouts, really exciting trends that I actually feel inspired by just reading about them. And then a little handful of those trends designed to make you feel like what you have just isn't quite right and you must get more stuff and you must spend more money. I like doing this because I feel like it gives us a subtler grasp, a bit subtler and therefore more effective of defense mechanism against those trends that are a bit too constrained, like too stuck up. It gives us more effective defense against those than it would to just be like, trends at large are stupid. Following trends is a mindless thing to do. Trends have nothing good to offer us, because I think that aesthetic trends do have something to offer us, can have something to offer us. And there is, because of that, a lot of power in being like, oh, I really love trends that lead us down this path, and trends that lead us down that path can be damaging and we need to keep an eye out for them. So I hope that this was helpful with these specific trends, but also just gives you helpful tools in the future to be able to do that kind of analysis for yourself so that you can make decisions that are going to keep making you happy. Thank you for watching this video. Today, I'm going to be talking about spring 2024 fashion trends. I think trends are interesting. They often show us what is going on in the zeitgeist, kind of what we are all subconsciously or even consciously wanting. I often feel like they bring what we are subconsciously wanting to the conscious mind, but in a way that has shape and color. So it's kind of like a metaphor. Trends are kind of like metaphors for what we're wanting subconsciously. It's anthropologically interesting. But I am always assessing trends through the lens of what I want long-term for myself and my wardrobe. Fewer, nicer things, pieces that last for years and years and years, which means that they have to transcend seasons and transcend trends. A timelessness that goes beyond aesthetics but actually has to do with the objects themselves. Some trends do dovetail with those goals and some trends totally don't. If this is your first time to my channel and you're interested in aesthetics like I am, and this sounds like an interesting way to approach that topic, I hope you'll subscribe. And now let's go ahead and get into the meat of this video. Okay, let's talk about fashion trends. So my source here is this Vogue article. These are the spring 2024 trends Vogue editors are wearing now. I haven't really been following. I haven't made time this year so far to watch any runway shows or even to read that much about what happened on the runways. I'm not even observing which trends are trickling down into stores very much because I'm not spending very much time browsing online. I'll put a link to a video about that in the description box and up here in the cards in case you want to know what I'm talking about and you didn't see that video. So I'm trusting that this article is at least somewhat of a roundup. I mean, it is Vogue after all. And if nothing else, it will give us some fodder to just talk about trends and aesthetics at large. Trend number 1. Fancy flats. So here's a quote from Alexis Bennett Parker, a senior shopping writer at Vogue. Nope, the fancy flat trend isn't going anywhere anytime soon. I can't wait until the weather warms up so I can show off my ankles again. And there's a picture of this rhinestone ballerina flat. Immediately, I butt up against my desire not to be too judgy. I mean, I guess that's in the nature of this video. Judginess is what I'm here to perform today, so I should get over it. But I try to hold space, for things to be the way they are for a reason. But here's the thing. As I said in the intro, I tend to assess trends through the lens of my desire for fewer, nicer things, which means longevity in the pieces that I do buy, a kind of personal lifetime sustainability in my wardrobe. And that has to do with the styling of the pieces, and it also has to do with the sturdiness of the pieces. I just have never had a flat like this that didn't look disgusting after a season. It's kind of like the summer sandals conundrum. Shoes get a beating. Shoes get a beating when you wear them well, when you really wear them. And if you have fewer, nicer things, you're wearing your things a lot. You're wearing the things you do have a lot. That's one of the things I want, right? I want that in my life. I want to actually wear the things I have. I want them to be of use. And shoes, when you make them of use, they get a beating. They're touching the ground all over the place. They're touching your gross feet all the time. They're getting sweat into. They're getting pushed and pulled and stretched all over the place by your walking feet. So a shoe that has longevity, a shoe that feels like a good investment to me is really sturdy. And by definition, summer sandals aren't sturdy and they're also open to the elements. I talked about this in my video about how to choose an investment piece that you won't forget. I'll link that in the cards in the description box too. Flats like this, I feel also by definition aren't sturdy because the shape itself is delicate. It's just one little layer of light leather or mesh. In the case of these mango rhinestone ballerinas, mesh with glued on rhinestones, which just are gonna fall off. Maybe I'm selling mango short. Maybe they're magically somehow sewn on in this case, but if they are, then wouldn't the sewing rub the inside of your foot? This shoe on the screen, it just looks like you might wear it for one night out to the bar and it'll be busted after that, let alone for a whole season. Let alone what I want from my shoes, which is season after season, year after year. But it's not this shoe on the screen only. It's really when I think about ballet flats or ballerina flats and the times in my life when they have trended before, because I'm decades old, and then the times in my life when I've worn them, they just never look good. They always look busted. Everybody's ballet flats on their feet. This is my hot take and my potentially unpopular opinion. Everybody's ballet flats all the time on their feet in the world always look bad. They all look bad. They are all falling apart, crumbling at the seams, getting that kind of collapsed, sort of slumped quality. Show me a ballet flat that looks really good, really sharp and clean and lovely on someone, and what you're showing me is a brand new ballet flat that was just purchased. And for me, that's not good enough. Now, the exceptions to this might be the really, really sturdily made ballet flats, like hard shell, you know what I mean? I think of these those iconic Chanel flats. If they're really sturdy and really well made, then yes, they might last longer. But I feel like most shoes in this category aren't like that. They're mostly these little foot gloves. And just when those words came out of my mouth, I remembered that a couple weeks ago, I was looking at some flats on Everlane called the Day Glove. I've never purchased anything from Everlane, and I've not wanted flats, ballet flats, in like 10 years. But I was looking at those Everlane shoes. They must have gotten advertised to me somehow, the Day Glove, and I was like, I want those. And now, even after everything I just said, I'm thinking about them again, and I'm like, I still kind of want them. Has anyone tried the Day Glove from Everlane? Are they the magical exception to what I just said about ballet flats always looking bad? Because if they are, maybe I'll fly in the face of everything I've said thus far and try them. But not until the weekend. Okay, trend number 2 on Vogue.com, lived in luxury. You already know. I could have written this one. Virginia Smith, global head of Fashion Network, says, I'm not sentimental about my clothes, but I do keep the pieces that work best for me and wear them continually. I gravitated towards pieces in the spring collection that had a worn-in patina. Patina Gate 2024. Like this amazing Miu Miu jacket that looks like I've had it for years. So I will return to patina in a moment, never fear. But let me just briefly address this. Virginia is saying that she gravitated towards this brand new Miu Miu jacket that is made to look like she's had it for years. That's fine for her because she probably got it for free because she works for Vogue. The trend of lived in luxury, I'm more into executing by wearing the luxury pieces that you bought last year or the year before that and have been wearing continually so that they are lived in, so that they do look lived in. Like that seems to be the much better way to execute this trend. And I feel like this should be a trend always. For me, it is. The idea, the aesthetic idea that when something looks a little bit aged, a little bit worse for wear, it looks better, but not in the way of the ballet flats that are falling apart. They look bad because they're not designed to last. So at the heart of this trend must lie pieces that are designed in such a way that as they age, they retain their structural integrity and they maybe develop a kind of patina that improves them rather than aging in a way that makes them look terrible the way that most ballet flats do. So I'm into this for 2 reasons. One, because in order to execute the pieces themselves, the luxury pieces that you invest in, your investment pieces for your wardrobe, they have to be really, really solidly made, really well made so that they will age well. And I'm also into the idea of us all wearing with pride pieces that visibly have a little bit of wear on them because they're lived in. And the idea that that's actually kind of a mark of luxury rather than the only luxuriousness being brand newness. This is probably my favorite trend of all time, lived in luxury. Maybe I should put that as a tagline in my bio. As for patina, it can be pronounced either way.
Patina.
Do you hear this? This is the Google pronunciation bot giving the British pronunciation of patina.
Patina. Patina.
Here's the American pronunciation.
Patina.
So for some reason, possibly because I attended a British-run school for 3 years of my schooling, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade when I lived abroad as a child, for some reason I say patina with the British pronunciation. And whenever I say it on camera, I get floods of people in the comments telling me that I'm saying it wrong. People have strong feelings about patina. But now I've cleared it up once and for all. Let's move on. Trend number 3 on Vogue.com, blue magic. Talia Abbas, senior shopping editor, says, after a long winter season of red, don't get me wrong, I still love it in all its fiery shades, I am gravitating towards fresh, energizing hues for spring, especially those misty, icy blues seen on the runway, to juxtapose with more edgy pieces. The example of more edgy pieces is a leather midi skirt. So because I haven't had an eye on the runways, I didn't know that misty, icy blues were seen on the runway, and it's fine. Actually, it's better than fine. I just published this video about using color to kind of curate your wardrobe and put together outfits. In the video, I talked about knowing your colors and choosing not to buy things that aren't in your palette. Misty Icy Blues are not in my palette. They're nowhere in my palette. They're not even adjacent to my palette. However, I don't object to misty, icy blue in a vacuum. I don't object to it being a trending color. I don't object to other people wearing it. It's beautiful. The last thing that I would do, though, would be to go out and buy something in a color that's not in my palette just because it's trending. So when people are doing that, then I object to color as a trend. I object to acting on a trend of color in that way. Being like, oh, I'm going to choose this color because it's trending and not because it suits me and will suit me in the long run. So no to that. But you can't criticize a color just for being itself and for being beautiful. And you can't criticize designers for choosing to design things in a color. I wouldn't be like, oh, I dislike blue. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of this color. That's why it's not one of the colors in my palette, but it can be done beautifully. It is being done beautifully, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just know your own colors and have that be the lodestone, and take that knowledge and then go out and look at trends with a gimlet eye, holding on to that knowledge. That's what I suggest. But are we on trend number 4? Reveal and conceal. Kiana Murden, commerce writer, says, I've been quite into skirts lately, so when temperatures warm up, I'm eager to take transparent fabrics for a spin. I like the idea of pairing a mesh or lacy textured skirt with a full coverage sweater or button down like they were styled in the spring 2024 runway. It's all about balance, right? Have I not discussed this in which was the video? Please, I beg of you, let me convince you to wear your clothes in a new way. And then there was another one where I talked about lingerie-inspired things. I think it was mainly that video. Sheer and transparent things. And why do we keep saying thing? The most beautiful example, I feel, from that video was this sheer lace midi skirt with an oversized sweater over it, and the oversized sweater coming down to mid-thigh. I absolutely love this. And as I've talked about in the past, these kinds of things can be found easily at thrift stores, like weird sheer skirts, sheer overlay skirts, and actually the fact that these feel actually like, why do we keep saying actually? These designer skirts that are in the Vogue article do kind of look thrifted to me. And that makes me think that this is like a 90s throwback. It's part of the 90s revival and the passion for thrifting things and just the overall aesthetic of that slightly cobbled together, found it in the back of my grandmother's closet, but made it work in a sexy way type of vibe. I don't know if this is going to suit me in my life right now, but that's fine. Just in isolation, I like the trend. Okay, next up, trend number 5 on the list, the modern tunic. Madeline Fass, senior shopping market editor, says, I've found the most flattering and sophisticated going out top to be a sleeveless tunic. So I was happy to see a handful of new takes on the elongated silhouette on the spring 2024 runways from Gucci to Tory Burch. So I'm looking at the pictures. One is like a long vest, just like a vest that would be part of a 3-piece suit, but is long. 2 of them are vests. And then one is just this textured silk tunic top. This is fine. I feel like I don't object to the long tunic out of hand. Like, I don't feel like it's ugly or something, but I do feel like it's a silhouette that will work on some people, not others. It's pretty specific. And so there may be some of you out there who are like, I love a long tunic. Long tunic is my best look. I'm always looking for long tunics. And for you, it's like, great. It's good that this is trending because there will be long tunics to the left of you, long tunics to the right of you. But just like with color, I wouldn't suggest the idea of getting long tunics and wearing them just because they're trending if it doesn't suit you and it's not something that you've been interested in. I don't like the part of trending styles, silhouettes, and colors that make people try to fit a square peg into a round hole. Some trends are like that. Some trends are just like a recipe for fitting a square peg into a round hole, or a recipe for trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. And I feel like this one could be that. This is kind of like sidling up next to that. And it's also just the examples are a little bit weird. I'm like, I mean, I didn't see the runways, but I'm like, are long tunics really trending? Like, how many long tunics are we really seeing if the Vogue editors had to pull 2 vests to get 3 examples? But mostly it's just that it's a little bit personal style and body specific. The previous trend, for example, the sheer skirts, I mean, it's not just skirts, but the reveal and conceal mesh lace garments that have some parts covered and some parts see-through. That is a principle that could be applied very broadly. And so if you're interested in that principle, you can find a way to make that principle integrate with the silhouettes that you already like to wear, with the level of formality that you're already interested in. You know, like reveal and conceal could be applied to activewear if you mostly live your life in activewear, or it could be applied to formality level 4 outfits or even formality level 3 outfits. So it's just very versatile. Whereas the long tunic, the modern modern tunic. It's a narrow trend, I guess. So we're moving on. Working girl. This is another broader trend. Tan Goodman, sustainability editor, says, I love the chic of workwear from Max Mara and Saint Laurent. This reminds me, I think the last time I filmed one of these videos, tailoring was one of the trends. Like, we're seeing a lot of tailoring on the runway. This is kind of like just that again. And I love it because it's totally timeless. Workwear, calling it working girl, isn't that a little bit, it's like, what is this, the 1950s? It's like women are working now. They're like, since women are working now, blazers for women are a trend. It seems a little bit like that's how Vogue is framing this. Skipping over entirely the framing, which I actually think is clumsy. Even calling it workwear, I don't know. I'm not going to touch it. All I'm going to say is a blazer is forever. A blazer, a beautiful blazer that fits you, that fits your silhouette and your style. Tailoring like this is always going to be in style. It's always going to be impeccable. And so it's never a bad investment. And I like seeing it on this list for that reason. The fashion flip-flop. This is the next one. I've forgotten what number we're on. Hannah Jackson, fashion writer, says, despite the fact that I'm a native Californian, I never thought I'd see the day where I bought a pair of flip-flops. But lo, I'm a convert. Maybe it's the frigid weather talking, but I desperately want to break out a pair of ultra-thin black leather sandals a la the Rose City flip-flop. I can't wait to wear them with a pair of baggy jeans and an oversized button-down, or even juxtaposed with a more formal pair of trousers. Okay, the judginess is coming out now. I have a lot to say about this, but I'll try to do it concisely. Where can I even start? I feel like we have to start with the idea of black leather flip-flops from the Row, which notoriously makes extremely expensive versions of beautifully designed, like streamlined minimalist things. But yes, the Rose City flip-flop sandals are $890. That's $900. This is a $1,000 pair of black leather flip-flops that, to the naked eye, to the untrained eye, but also probably to most eyes, even trained eyes, to literally almost anybody on the planet, would just look like you bought it for $14.99 at Target, and that they're faux leather. I mean, I think it's very hard, with just a flip-flop like this, it's very hard to distinguish between the beautifully made luxury version and the basic version. It's like some types of garments, many types of garments, really do telegraph their quality. And some things, no matter how quality they are, no matter what they're made out of, no matter how much they cost, you just can't exactly tell by looking. But in some cases, it might be worth it. It's not really the main point of getting something that will last, is so that it will look luxurious, so that people can tell by looking that it was expensive. I mean, that's not the main point. So in some cases, it still might be worth it to invest in something, to buy the really nice version of something, so that you can wear it season after season and it'll continue to look good. But with a flip-flop, it's just going to get busted eventually, I feel. Because look at it. It's just little bits of bits. I mean, I almost feel like a flip-flop is designed to be a relatively disposable shoe. And so there's something kind of sick and postmodern about a $1,000 flip-flop from the Row. And then there's the fact that she's saying, I thought that I would never like this. I thought I would never buy a pair of flip-flops, but now I suddenly want it. That is an example of trends really swaying somebody. And I don't know. It's happened to me before. So I'm not criticizing Hannah Jackson for saying that happened. It's just all of it together. The like, I didn't think I would like this, and all of a sudden I'm really into the trend, and the ones that I want cost $1,000. I actually think, just backing up from all of that, I actually think flip-flops with a pair of like pinstripe trousers or baggy jeans can look really cool. I could see myself getting some for the summer. I totally could. I wouldn't spend $1,000 on them, but I could see myself getting a little bit of a nicer version, like maybe a $50 version made out of leather, so that they would last and so that they would continue to look nice. Maybe for some people who have way, way more money than I do, the $1,000 version is their version of me getting the $50 version. Like, I would be more likely to get the $50 version than to get flip-flops at the dollar store and wear them. So maybe under that light, all of my criticism falls apart. If money really is no object, I could see where someone would be coming from and wanting the pair. I'm not trying to justify the $1,000 flip-flops for me or anyone. It's just, I guess I can see a better flip-flop. I can see a better flip-flop being a good choice. A sturdier flip-flop being a good choice for someone. The question is just where's the limit to that? Like, at what price point do you pass out of paying for the flip-flop to be better? You like break through the ceiling of that making sense, and you just enter the realm of paying ridiculously huge amounts for a brand name flip-flop. I feel like it's probably around the $50 mark, which means that you're paying the extra $850 so that you'll have the flip-flops from the row. Let's move on. Okay. This one. Next up, category is sublime exposure. A bit esoteric, Vogue. And then we have Ton Goodman, sustainability editor, delivering the description of this trend. This season, I do love the sublime exposure. That's all we've got. And then there's a picture of a Valentino organza shirt trimmed with sequins. So organza is slightly sheer, maybe, and then it has sequins. So maybe that's what they're talking about. And then there are two dresses, one that's layered and pleated, doesn't have sequins, and one that's fit and flare. And it's a little hard to tell. I don't know what this means, sublime exposure. Does it mean like elevated garments that are a little bit sheer in places? And if so, is that tremendously different from the conceal and reveal category that we already discussed? It's just Vogue being vague about trends. Poetically, it's my favorite one. I too am appreciating, what did Ton say? I too do love the sublime exposure this season. I'm just going to leave it at that. Okay, ladylike touches. Sasha Pinto, the Vogue 100 Experiences manager, says, as Chanel's Summer-Spring 2024 show unfolded, I was mesmerized by the confluence of tulle, tweed, and those oh-so-chic white tights worn with virtually every look. Immediately transported back to my childhood reverie of ballet core. I can't wait to try them out on the streets of New York, paired with my own version of a Chanel frothy tulle skirt and a touch of tweed. The way I feel about this personally is that none of these would be good investment pieces for me. This sort of ballet core tweed, like classic Chanel tweed jacket meets opaque tights thing, it feels very of the moment. It's the kind of trend, and this is a type of trend that I've besmirched in the past in videos like this. Sounds like the type of trend that 6 months or a year from now will be extremely recognizable as so last year. Like that is so last year. Oh, that's what everyone was doing for a hot minute last spring. That to me is like red flag, red alert, stay away. That is the least copacetic type of trend with my overall philosophy. So just a Chanel jacket, a Chanel tweed jacket in general, in isolation, is not that. Those are relatively classic. Doesn't fit right now for me with what I like to wear. So I'm not interested in that. But I think that the trend being discussed here is even more specific than that, and actually even less of a good choice for me than that. Y'all, there are a couple more trends here, but I'm running out of steam. There's one about putting a bow on everything, and then a separate one that's talking about rosettes being on everything. I know that bows and rosettes aren't the same thing, but I kind of feel like that is the same thing. There's another one, pump up the volume, flouncy peplums, exaggerated draping. I actually feel like these are all the same thing. They're calling them separate things, but it's talking about texture and sculptural volume on garments. And that is something that I really love, actually. I really love it because it can fit with the way that I'm starting to explore aesthetic minimalism in clothing. One of the things that makes aesthetic minimalism so attractive to me is that in many cases, print and diversity of color in outfits are played down so that the sculptural qualities of garments can be played up. I enjoy the sculptural nature of clothing the most of almost any quality of clothing, right? I'm more interested in sculptural qualities in clothing than I am in prints right now and in diversity of color in clothing right now. So I am interested in this trend at large. The way that it's manifesting in many cases, which is like extremely maximalist with not only volume and sculpture, but also print and color, isn't quite up my alley personally. But overall, I'm in favor of fashion exploring volume and texture. I like it. I'm going to stop. Was there one more? Oh, modern romance, ruching, ruffles, and roses. It's all the same. These last 5 are like all just, to me, they all can be conflated into one thing, which is about sculptural volume, and I'm into it. That is it, y'all. What fun. I feel like this has left me wanting to get into volume, maybe just because it was the very last one that I discussed. Which one am I the most into overall? Well, lived in luxury, because it basically just is the philosophy, of course. But that one at the end about sculptural volume, rosettes, and ruffles, I feel a little inspired to think more about where I can find that in my existing wardrobe and how I can kind of play that up with what I have. Let's talk in the comments about these trends. Is there one? What I particularly like to know is if there's one that is already in your closet. I mean, these days in my current phase of life, when I read listicles like this, that's what I'm looking for. I'm like, what is trending that is already what I'm into? Like, which one of the things that I'm already into, that I already wear or that I already own, happens to be coming back around again right now? I just like to know that. That's basically all I'm ever doing. I'm not looking at this and being like, misty blue, better run out and buy something new because it's on trend. That's not the point of trends for me. And I love finding a way to appreciate them that's not about that. When it comes to personal style, I really think of my project as building a wardrobe of fewer, nicer things. And that's something that has to happen thoughtfully and slowly. When I acquire something, it's often at the end of a long and these days relaxed process of kind of thinking about it, circling around it, forgetting about it for a while, and then re-remembering to make sure that the item is going to have sticking power after I purchase it. So today I'm going to talk about some things that I think are trending. I mean, I don't really have my finger on the pulse, like in a professional sense, even though technically this is my job. It's just because it's things that I've been seeing everywhere. I see them in the shops that I pay attention to. I see them in online imagery that I'm attracted to. I see some of my friends buying and wearing them. And I'm in this sort of circling around phase, right? I've been circling around and kind of getting closer and closer to some of these things. I'm just going to talk it through. If you happen to be watching my channel for the first time or one of the first times, as you can see, this isn't what it's supposed to be like. This isn't what it's always like. I just moved. The studio's new. We haven't set up the background yet. I mean, we are living in a pile of chaos. I am here from the middle of a pile of chaos filming this video for you. And soon we'll get things organized. We'll get back on track, but can't wait till then to start work again. Let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. Okay, the first trendy fashion I've been peeping is the vest top, specifically the linen vest top, and even more specifically than that, for me, the Ozma linen vest top, because I really love Ozma, an incredible independent brand from which to buy thoughtfully, beautifully made investment pieces. There has just been kind of an Ozma renaissance in my life over the past year or two. Almost not a day goes by that I'm not wearing at least something Ozma. It's gotten to the point where it's like the backbone of my wardrobe. The pieces are quite pricey, so maybe not quite that point. For it to truly be the backbone of my wardrobe, I would have to have maybe a few more pieces than I have. But what I do have, I love, and I just wear on repeat the definition of the core of a wardrobe of fewer, nicer things. Anyway, I'm a big fan of Ozma. So I've seen the linen vest, it's like a suit vest, but it's a shirt. And so you can wear it with pants that make it look kind of like two pieces of a three-piece suit, which I think is adorable. But that can be done in a very comfortable, breezy way when it's linen, so it doesn't seem like you're hemmed in or dressed up or wearing something that you can't sweat on or can't get dirty, because linen, it's pretty hardy and, washable, breathable fabric. So not only is that the case in practice, but it also looks that way. And the fact of its hardiness, the hardiness of the fabric and the garments and the wash and wearability of them, that's also part of the aesthetic. And that's part of the appeal. So it's like a suit, not a suit. And then it's silhouette-wise got a lot going for it that I like. I like this kind of cutoff point on the shoulders. I like a deep V. That's my favorite neckline. And I like a top that is like functionally a t-shirt kind of, but is dressed up and slightly structured to give it a lot more oomph or a lot more styling than a t-shirt. And I've been keeping my eye out for those kinds of tops for the past couple of summers. And really, it has been a long time that I've been peeping this trendy fashion for the past couple of summers. I've seen them showing up on social media. I've seen people wearing them. I've seen them in shops. Then very recently, this Ozma one has come onto my radar. And I'm like, well, if I were ever to get one, that would be the one. I also like that the Ozma one has a tie at the back of the waist, so you can make it really fitted or you can leave it loose. I would probably want it to be slightly oversized because, again, it's kind of like a t-shirt, not a t-shirt for me. And then, I think it can be worn not with the matching trousers. So I've been thinking of it as sort of suit, not a suit, but I think you could also wear it with jeans, shorts, different types of shorts. It could work as just a versatile top. Although my favorite way, I think, to wear it would be with high-waisted loose trousers. So those are all the things that I like about this garment and the reasons that I'm circling around it. The question is it so trendy that in a couple of years, it's going to be like, oh, remember back at the beginning of the 2020s when everyone was wearing vest tops and loose trousers. And then I want to keep wearing it because it still suits me, because that's the thing. I think it will continue to suit me. I think I will continue to want to wear it. I think it will continue to suit my lifestyle. And I just have to commit to continuing to have it be a backbone of my style, even if fashion evolves over the next 5 years in a way that kind of causes this garment to have the stamp of outdatedness, that slight mustiness of style. And I don't know. I think because it's natural fibers, I think because it's suiting, it's like a classic. I feel like suiting, tailoring never really goes out of style. It might drop out of the absolute brightest concentrated point of the limelight from time to time and then sometimes get back into the limelight. It never looks dated, I feel. I'm kind of talking myself into it. Let's move on to the next one. I feel like we all kind of know where this is going with the vest top. I could see myself wearing this Osmo linen vest top when I'm like 80 years old, honestly. And I could also see it being an heirloom and someone being like, oh, my elderly relation wore this when she was, I guess I'm not young anymore, but when she was middle-aged, and I'm wearing it now because it's still in good shape, because it's linen and it's classic. Like, that's high level of confidence. But let's move on to something a little bit more iffy. Pointy shoes. Pointy shoes at large, specifically for me, the thing that keeps me thinking that maybe this isn't a bad idea is this pair of pointy Jenny Kane slingback mules. Here's what happened. I saw a stylishly dressed woman breezing through a door into an office building or something. At this point, it must have been a year and a half. No, it was probably last summer. Yeah, it was probably about a year ago. It was probably early last summer. Wearing a pair of what I swear were the actual Jenny Kane pointy slingback mules. I mean, I swear it was this exact pair of shoes because I had seen them on Jenny Kane or whatever the version was last summer. I was aware of them, but I was kind of like, slingback mules like that, feels a little flimsy, especially for the price, a little bit like something that might wear out in a single season. Not totally sure about the ergonomics of that, like how it would feel to wear. And the pointiness, there's just nothing less foot-shaped than a triangle like that comes to a point. Like the foot is shaped like that, and that is the shoe. It's like the opposite. So there's just a lot of shoe there that there's not foot in. And that seems like it would be difficult to walk in. And I speak as someone who was a tango dancer for like well over a decade. I mean, I still technically am. I'm just not dancing that much these days. And I was out there dancing in 4-inch stilettos for hours every night, walking backwards. So it's like I can walk in things that are difficult to walk in. I'm not like, oh, I'm not going to buy those shoes because one needs to have good balance in order to wear them. Like that. Never actually. I mean, I was wearing like heels when I was quite pregnant and just walking along, which they actually told me I wasn't supposed to do, but I did it anyway. And I carried it off without a hitch. And yet these flat shoes with points, I look at them and I'm like, I would trip. And yet the world is awash in pointy shoes like this, especially right now. I know that this isn't the first time that pointy shoes have trended. They've been around and then they go out and then they come back in again. I think they're kind of in right now. I see them everywhere. And I think, why do people like the look of that? Is it a thing where it's like, I'm so fancy that I don't really have to do that much walking, so I'm able to wear these very pointy shoes, kind of like a heel, but on the tip of the toe instead of on the heel? And then I saw this woman breezing through the doors of this office building, elegantly dressed, wearing, I think, these exact Jenny Kane shoes. And I had that moment where it like snapped into place. I wanted to talk about this moment in this video because I wonder if you all, I'm sure you have had this experience as well, where you just see a picture or a person and suddenly it's like bloop, 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 bloop. Your understanding of why something is stylish or your appreciation of a certain trend or a certain shape of something or the effect that something can give suddenly kind of levels up, like clicks into place, and then suddenly either you appreciate it because you don't have to acquire something for yourself and wear it just because you appreciate it. So you can have that leveling up moment where it's like an aha moment. You're like, oh, now I see what everyone is seeing in that. Now I see why everybody is interested in wearing that. Or you see it and you're like, I want that. Like that is now you level up in how you see it, and then suddenly you want to incorporate it into your own sense of personal style, which can be really exciting. Like it's an exciting moment when that happens. So this happened with these pointy slingback mules. I saw it and I was just like, I want that particular shape of fierceness for my own feet, but it's this pointy shape. I just think if I got these slingback mules, these pointy slingback Jenny Kane mules, which I, let's be honest, am unlikely to do because they're so expensive. And Jenny Kane makes amazing shoes, really beautifully made, and they check all of my boxes. So maybe if she has one of her like big sales or something, like it's just Jenny up there being like, today, waking up in the morning and removing her satin eye mask and being like, today we're going to have a sale. I guess it would probably be like a hemp or like a linen, California coastal linen eye mask. Today we're going to have a sale. Jenny Kane will sometimes have big sales, and I could see if these shoes, well, but how reduced would they have to be for me to buy them, given my misgivings about the points? If I go into the store, try them on, they're impeccable, they feel great, and they are everything I ever dreamed, and then there's a big sale and I haven't bought any other shoes basically all year, I could see it happening. But those are a lot of ifs. My question for you is, do you wear these pointy shoes? Not these necessarily only, but any pointy shoes. And does it feel like your feet are being squeezed into the opposite of the shape that they are? And do you trip on the points? Okay, let's talk about blazers. Obviously, blazers, can we even say they're trending? I mean, I think they are. If they are, they're the trend of like the century because it does seem like a blazer as a jacket worn in this way, casually, also professionally, it is starting to, I think the thing right now that I would put my finger on is that it has transcended preppiness. The blazer has transcended and sort of moved laterally away from preppiness. So I see a lot of blazer styling that doesn't look preppy, but that doesn't necessarily look workwear either, but has kind of like a casual elevated, I guess it's like the quiet luxury or part of that, but also organic minimal in fashion. And it also is still in preppy, and it also is still in workwear. It's just the blazer is everywhere, and everyone seems to be making it work. And the more that happens, the more ubiquitous it becomes, the more different ways that I see it styled, and the more times I see it styled in a way that aligns with my closet and what I feel comfortable in, the closer I get to thinking, maybe I should figure out how to wear a blazer on the daily. I think, why haven't I though? Because I have talked about blazers on this channel so many times. Anytime there's a fashion video, I'm like, I love blazers. Blazers are amazing. Oversized blazers looking so gorgeous this season. I kind of want a blazer. I'm going to go to a thrift shop and get a blazer. I feel like I've said that in 100 videos, but I don't have a blazer. I haven't figured out really how to wear one. I used to have this very beautiful kind of sharp tailored blazer that I would wear when I was in the leading role in tango. And so I do have experience wearing a blazer, but it wasn't in the everyday necessarily. And it was evening wear kind of for me. It was part of my evening wear. So when I think about trendy fashions I've been peeping, when I think about what's kind of been occupying that part of my brain that's like, should I try that? Should I try incorporating that into my personal style? I see images and I'm like, oh, that could be me. Blazers are there. So what's the problem? That's what I'm asking myself. I think the problem is twofold. One has to do with style, and the other is logistical, like practical. The style thing, it's just a blazer feels a bit dressy for me, a bit like I'm masquerading as somebody who has an office job. Even though the thing that's making me continue to think about blazers is the fact that I feel like we're seeing them everywhere in different kinds of styles that don't necessarily reflect only office job. And at the same time, I feel like my daily style is actually starting to get a little bit more polished because of the loose tailored trousers that I'm so interested in. So almost every day, even though I work from home, even though a lot of times I'm not putting on makeup these days, really getting myself together that much, almost every day I'm wearing a pair of tailored trousers and often a belt with them these days, and looking and feeling quite a bit more put together and quite a bit more like maybe I could have just come from the office when I'm like heading out to the grocery store to grab something to cook for dinner in the late afternoon than I ever have before. So I'm starting to feel more comfortable. Like this image that I chose to talk about blazers, this woman walking down the street wearing like a white t-shirt and loose high-waisted tailored pants, everything except the blazer. That's basically me right now. Like that is how I'm always looking. So I feel like it used to be that the addition of a blazer, it was like a huge step in the direction of polish, basically like leaping formality levels kind of. And the blazer fell into the category of a formality level that I wasn't usually wearing in the day-to-day. Now, however, I feel like I am wearing the formality level of like an oversized blazer almost every day. So I feel like that's the thing that has changed. A blazer might integrate more seamlessly into my current wardrobe than it ever has before. But the logistical thing is still an issue, and that is that it's like, what kind of weather is it for? If it's cold, well, actually, I have this lightweight cotton like painter's coat from Anion, which is an amazing circular fashion brand in Canada. I will link them. I absolutely love this brand, Anion. I found myself wearing that lightweight painter's coat a lot this year. It definitely occupies the position of a blazer, but it's much, much more casual than a blazer. Actually, there's not really a logistical issue. I could totally see how a blazer would fit in to my life. Maybe I'll get a blazer. I mean, it's summer now, it's hot now, so I probably won't be doing it anytime soon. I will probably be back here in the fall in another video being like, I've been kind of thinking about getting a blazer. Like, I will probably be like that. When will the momentous day come when I get a blazer and start wearing it? That is the question I have for you at this moment. It's like Blazer Watch 2024 over here. Let's move on. These high, tall, pulled all the way up socks. Everybody's talking about it as the Gen Z fashion, right? That this is like a Gen Z fashion thing. Should I try it? This is the thing I ask myself on many a day. I have so many feelings. I mean, one is like, if I were to do this, if I were to wear these socks, which I think look great, maybe I should make a whole video about this, but I really like where Gen Z is taking us. I think the first inklings of it were with the Euphoria makeup, which I did do several videos about and kind of addressed several times. And how I feel maybe about these socks and about a lot of Gen Z things fashion-wise is maybe how I felt about that makeup, which is that I love everything it stands for. I absolutely love it. And I also enjoyed dabbling in it myself, but I didn't feel pressed to do it on a daily basis. I didn't feel like it was the new me and that I was just going to start doing my makeup like that all the time. But I deeply appreciated the sense of fun and the whimsy, the combination of kind of artistic relishing and acceptance of the natural self, like the natural shape of the face, the natural skin that Euphoria makeup represents. And I feel that way about Gen Z fashion too. I see so many people wearing fits that celebrate the body as it is than I feel I grew up seeing, being around when I was in like high school and college and stuff. So, and I think that this sock thing is kind of that. There's this sort of like, well, these are my legs, these are my ankles, this is my feet. I know that that's not what the trend is about, but the way that it ends up manifesting, it's to me so joyful, a little bit glib, celebratory, both confidently showing skin and also not obsessively trying to make oneself look perfect. In fact, there's a little bit of like awkwardness and kind of cutting the leg off at the mid-calf level that comes with these socks. It's like I'm making myself look a little dorkier and a little more awkward in these socks. So sue me. Like that's how I feel this trend is speaking. And I am here for it. I absolutely love it. And I fear that if I do it, it will be like, oh, look at that millennial woman trying to try the Gen Z sock trend. Because everybody's so aware of it because it's been like covered in the New York Times and stuff. Everyone's so aware of it as like the marker, the one most conspicuous hallmark of this sort of generational sensibility. So maybe that's the only thing keeping me back. And then there's also possibly my own conditioning about what looks good and what's flattering keeping me back. But I won't know that I don't think it looks good until I truly try it. That I will think it doesn't look good on me until I truly try it. Maybe I should just try it. Because the thing about people being like, oh, look at that millennial woman trying to look like she's in touch with Gen Z is like, that is my job. I am an influencer. So if anybody my age is going to try this sock trend, it should be me, right? Stay tuned on Instagram. And also it's not expensive. I mean, I don't think I have socks. I might. That would work for it. But Joe definitely does. I could try it in the next 5 minutes. I could just get a pair of Joe's socks and pull them up. What are you doing? Tell me. Are you out there wearing your socks like this? Are you aware that the bare ankle is now kind of a contentious thing to reveal to the world? How do you feel? I want to hear from someone who was like, never, saw this sock trend happening and was like, never, no, never, and then tried it and is now a convert looking like these stylish people in all of these images wearing these socks every day, hither, thither, and yon. I want to hear from you in the comments. nuts. And lastly, the fisherman sandals. This is one, I don't think that I'm circling around it, and I think the answer is going to be no. I think I'm going to be circling around the fisherman sandals and then kind of take the exit, I think. But here's where I stand. I've been seeing them everywhere. When I first saw a pair a couple of years ago, I was like, oh no. Like, I think they remind me maybe a little bit of jellies, a certain kind of jelly sandals from when I was a kid. And so to me, they look the silhouette looks very childish. I think that's probably just in the blueprint of fashion that's like in my brain. But I fear that they would really make a child out of me, or that they would, kind of give me that dorky flapping around in my shoes look. But that exact kind of slight dorkiness is, I think, trending. And I think it's like a groundswell. It's something you can't quite put your finger on, but it's starting to sort of permeate everything and have that sense of freshness. Again, the confidence. It's connected to the socks. And in fact, I think that socks with these fisherman sandals would probably be the most fashion thing that I could possibly wear. And both of them make me feel a little bit like tantalized, but also nervous. Anyway, my first reaction to these fisherman shoes was like, no, it doesn't. It looks not fashion. And then I started seeing them more and more and seeing these beautiful, beautiful manifestations of them. So again, Jenny Kane has made this beautiful pair. The shoes themselves look absolutely gorgeous. And seeing these gorgeous versions of them, they as a very high quality kind of investment piece and also practical sandal, the concept of that has sort of replaced the awkward shaped jelly sandal made of leather thing that I originally thought. So that's why I'm talking about sort of circling and circling around, because it was a no that kind of turned into a maybe for me. And I keep thinking about them because I think they would be really practical. It's a closed-toed and yet breezy sandal. It's a sandal that's sturdily enough made that it will last for season after season, year after year. You could wear them one summer and then wear them again the next summer instead of a sandal that's going to totally fall apart. It checks a lot of my boxes and kind of aligns with a lot of what I'm into. So I'm having that feeling like maybe I should be investigating this type of shoe. Maybe I should be trying one on. I feel like I need to go to Jenny Kane and try on the fisherman sandals and try on the pointy mules and test out these hypotheses. So those are the trendy fashions I've been peeping. Having talked it out, I feel like the vest top, the linen vest top, is definitely the thing that I'm the most positive about, and everything else can kind of stay on the back burner. The other thing that's going on is because we just moved, I feel much more motivated to acquire things like a headboard for our bed, like a rug for the baby's play area. Like I am just not in the zone right now of perfecting my wardrobe, and almost all of my clothes are in boxes. I'm still living out of a suitcase over here, wearing like the same 3 or 4 outfits in a row and then washing them because it is taking so long to unpack because of everything that we have going on. So that helps because I'm not over here chomping at the bit to buy more shoes, because I just am like, I'm like, let's get my shoes unpacked first and decluttered, and then we'll see where we stand. So this has all really been kind of a question of philosophy, right? I've been taking an academic interest in these trendy fashions, but it was enjoyable to talk it through. I am very curious to know not only what you think about these trendy fashions that I've been peeping, but I really want to know what trendy fashions you have been peeping. So let me know, what are the things that you keep being like, huh, and then you're like, like, what are the things that you are circling and circling around? And do you think you're going to circle all the way to the middle and eventually end up acquiring it? Or do you think you're going to circle and circle and then take the exit? Let me know. Hey y'all, hi. Today I'm going to be reacting to current fashion trends. I am fascinated by trends. I often find them getting in amongst me despite myself. Like things that are trending, I really start to come around to seeing the appeal. I guess I get swept into kind of the aesthetic group think that is what makes trends so interesting, because it's like all of our tastes changing together. What even is that? But at the same time, I'm dedicated to building a wardrobe of fewer, nicer things. I want the things that I wear and, consequently the things that define my personal style to have longevity, a longer longevity than how long most trends usually last. So there's this beautiful dramatic tension between those two ways of thinking about fashion. And that's what makes these videos so fun. If this is your first time to my channel, then welcome. I'm Hannah. I make videos about aesthetics and consumerism. I'm also a writer. I'll link my book down below, and I hope you'll subscribe to my channel if you like it. Now let's get into the meat of the video. So my reference for this video is an article on glamour.com by Jake Henry Smith, one of the fashion editors at Glamour. 11 summer 2024 fashion trends you need to know and shop right now. I feel like that's taking it a bit far. It's a good point of reference. You need to shop right now. Fresh from the catwalk, says Jake Henry, these are the summer 2024 fashion trends our style editors are the most excited to wear right now. Number 1, athletic prep. I'm torn about this one. It's an immediate no from me, but not in that way where it's like, it's a no from me. It's like, it's not for me. But that has to do with my past, like my life and my history with specifically preppiness, I guess. I think it can look amazing and I really like these images, and I tend to actually kind of like sporty things when I see them, like the sporty side of prep, athletic side of prep. I like the crispness, and I like those things when I see them in fashion. I just have an uncomfortable relationship with preppiness. I think maybe because of having gone to prep school but not having had as much money as most of the other people who were at my schools, frankly. It's what it was. I went to a prep school for high school because my dad was a teacher there. And most of the people who went there, I don't know, they were just shopping for school with a whole different budget and from kind of a different place, like coming from a different place societally than I was coming from. And so we're wearing like really expensive preppy clothes, actual preppy clothes at actual prep school that I not only couldn't afford, but also didn't really have the cultural grasp to like even know what those kinds of clothes were or know even where I would get them, even if I could afford them. It was just, it all just went completely over my head as a kid. Like I'm talking about, high school, the wounding high school years, the deep wounds of the high school years. Oh, we're really getting deep right out the gate here on this one. Anyway, preppy fashion, like true prep fashion, really reminds me of this kind of like club that I didn't even know enough to know that I had no chance at ever belonging to, and makes me remember how totally clueless and awkward I was for a long time in my life. And it still feels like I can't wear it, or if I were to try, it would really be like I was playing dress up, like really dressing up as something that I'm not. So I can't bring myself to even touch it with a 10-foot pole. In a vacuum though, it's fine. And I feel like, if you can't tell, I'm like articulating this to myself for the first time here as I discuss it on camera. I think seeing it on the runways like this makes me realize that it doesn't have to be that way. It like makes me realize that if I were to get like a super preppy jacket or something and wear it, I could be playing with it as an element of fashion in the same way that I wear, I don't know, is it less like dressing up as someone who can afford a luxury item to get like an Anina Bing blazer from The RealReal, which is something I've considered doing many a time and wouldn't feel uncomfortable doing, No, it's not. That isn't less this than wearing something preppy would be. In fact, I feel like preppy styling is much more accessible across all price points than quiet luxury, for example. So it really is kind of just all in my head and in my personal history. And since I do kind of like it in the abstract, maybe I should bring those barriers down. That's my hot take. Let's move on to the next one. Ew, but I just can't. Scrolling down this like polo shirt with the little thing. I don't know. I just can't. Okay, boho 3.0 is the next one on the list. Jake Henry says, welcome back to the zeitgeist, fringe. While the word boho might send you on a stress-induced mental trip back to 2013, fear not. The aesthetic has been remixed for 2024 with new takes on crochet, fringe, and flowy tops, blah, 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 blah. That fact notwithstanding, I also feel like I can't touch boho with the 10-foot pole, but it's for the opposite reason. This was my comfort zone then, like back when I was sitting in math class amongst all of these preppy kids who were like wearing expensive actual preppy clothes to an actual preparatory school. And I was sitting there in like a floor length flowy gauze flowered skirt that I had gotten at like either the thrift shop, flea market, or one of those like shops where you can buy incense and rayon balloon pants. You know what I mean? So yeah, like boho as a style right now, no matter how remixed or polished it is, I feel that as I've grown, I've matured away from it and I have to leave it in the past. Wow, fashion has so much to do with one's personal story, doesn't it? It's like my life story is coming down the runway right now. Anyway, again, I don't necessarily think it's bad, although weirdly, I think in a vacuum right now, I would probably pick athletic prep over boho. I think because, I don't know, some of the things that are here as the examples, they like look a little cheaply made to me because of the styling, even though they might not actually be cheaply made. And I think that it's a little bit difficult to avoid that. Not impossible, but that is a pitfall of boho that some might wish to avoid. I don't know. I really am moving towards sleekness, and this isn't that. I'm not mad at it. I love that everyone can be free spirits and look like they're in the latest thing. What is it in the book I've been reading? Utterly utter. They can look utterly utter in floppy, sloppy things like this. But to me, for me, and again, I think a lot of people don't look floppy, sloppy and things like this. I think for me though, that is how it makes me feel. And it's both something to do with probably just body type and personal, the way that I am in person, and with my personal history and the way that I think about my past floppy, sloppy self in clothes like this and just not wanting to be her again. Let's move on. Give me something a little more neutral. Glamour. Okay, number 3, slim sneakers. Chunky sneakers are now taking a backseat to their slimmer, sportier cousins. Jake Henry, you're killing me. Paired with everything from runway-ready summer dresses to relaxed trousers, these trainers have a relaxed, lived-in vibe that feels especially cool this time of year. They do look good in the images. This model with the orange dress with the very slim profile blue sneakers, the Miu Miu slim brown sneakers with the white and yellow laces, like they all look good. This is just so annoying because I still have my chunky sneakers and they still look great. I still feel cool in them. I feel like the dad sneaker vibe still gives me a cool air. Like it's still one of the ways in which I masquerade as being cooler than I actually am is to wear the dad sneakers. But now Jake Henry's here telling me that they're taking a backseat to their slimmer, sportier cousins. So now it makes me feel like they're not cool or I don't look as cool as I think that I'm pretending to be in them. I hate that. Maybe I can take comfort in the fact that where I live, we're probably a little bit behind the fashion times. So I still probably have a grip on that like wisp of fake coolness. Whereas if I lived maybe in a bigger city like New York or LA or something, my current sneakers might be conspicuously so last year. I mean, I'm saying all of this a little bit tongue in cheek because it's all stupid. Like you can wear whatever makes you look and feel good. And I actually do think that chunky sneaker trend for me, it's something to do with height, proportions, the other kinds of clothes that I wear. Those are great sneakers for me. So I don't really care. You know what I mean? I'm going to wear what is comfortable and what looks good. But like I was saying in the introduction, it's something about the zeitgeist with trends. Even though right now I'm looking at this and I'm like, well, I guess it looks fine, but I still like the way I look in my chunky sneakers. What's going to happen is that eventually this is going to infiltrate and it's going to change the way that I see what I see when I look in the mirror in those sneakers. Hopefully not for a while. Hopefully not until they're actually totally worn out and I'm looking to get new sneakers and replace my old sneakers. When that day comes, hopefully a couple of years down the line, if they last well, the sneakers, then I bet I'm going to be like, this time around, I'm going to get a slimmer sneaker, which is fine. Like that's natural. That's a timeline with which I can live. But in the moment being told that what I wear is out and something new is in, I'm against it. Ooh, up next, little white dresses, which actually just means all white dresses. Forget the LBD. This summer, labels are going in the opposite direction, giving us white dresses worth swooning over. Yes, 1,000 times. Yes, I am more into wearing white and all white than ever. And all y'all who said that my child would be getting food all over me and I wouldn't be able to wear white anymore, I just am here to tell you that you're wrong. I have a Tide pen that I deploy. I love having a lot of white clothing because then I can wash it all together and it's only pure white clothing all at once. And I have enough of it to make one load of wash, So if anything gets on, anything white, I just use the Tide pen, which is miraculous. I mean, the miracle of modern science is the Tide pen. Use the Tide pen on it, wash it on cold, hang it all out on the laundry line. And I am over here wearing all white clothing like most of the time. I'm just telling you. White clothing forever, white dresses forever. I love the idea of a casual white dress for summer, honestly. Just an easy to wear white dress. I used to feel like white was too precious and that I would mess it up. And I'm so glad that I have stepped through the portal onto this side where it's like, actually, stains do come out. White clothing is easy to wash. It's easy to care for me. I've set it up so that it is that way. And I just feel confident wearing it all the time. It no longer feels precious. It wasn't that long ago. I think I talked about it on camera that I was worried about getting like a white shirt or something that I wouldn't wear it because I'd be worrying about getting a stain on it all the time. It is just no longer that way. I just wear it. I just wear it with abandon and it works out. So I'm really into this. All right, number 5, raffia accessories. I love this one. Jake Henry says raffia always gets a bump this time of year, but summer 2024 is an especially big moment for the woven material. The runways were awash in raffia bags and shoes, and now we want all things straw. I'm here for it. I'm kind of here for this writing. So the reason that I'm into this is that it is both beautiful, it's both precious and unprecious. So it feels high-end, not high-end, it feels fashion. Raffia feels fashion in that enduring classic way, in that kind of French fashion way to me, like French girl in the summer type of way. Raffia feels always chic and very chic, extremely chic, but super casual and unprecious. It's like it can get a little beat up, your raffia bag. It doesn't have like the cloying, expensive preciousness of, for example, nice leather. A beautiful leather bag. I mean, nothing beats a beautiful leather bag, but it carries with it a quality of richness. And I kind of mean that in like a lot of ways. And raffia doesn't. It's tasteful. It is like, to me, it feels like a signifier of taste, but it's also easeful. And then it's like, I don't need to be carrying my leather bag for you to know that I'm chic and I know what's up. I think that is what it is. It feels fashion in a cultural way, but it also has these beautiful elements that balance an outfit. It has texture, it has dimension, it's a natural material, it's a very beautiful color that kind of goes with a lot of different things. It's just amazing. I don't have a raffia bag, but there are some that I've had my eye on, and seeing it here on this list and then talking about why I think it's so great is kind of making me want to take the plunge. Okay, number 6, Jake Henry is called Back to Basics, and this is where it gets good. This is where he starts really going in, I feel. Stealth wealth is still going strong, but it's poised to change a little in the new year. And I'm not going to read you the whole paragraph, but the idea is that simple yet glamorous outfits are all the rage right now. Oh, and a quote from Jenny Walton: I believe we will move into an 80s and 90s look somewhat adjacent to quiet luxury. And this isn't Jenny's words, this is mine, but not exactly quiet luxury. Like she's saying adjacent to quiet luxury, but with that sort of 80s, 90s vintage vibe. Restraint will become more and more alluring. It's over. I'm retiring. I live. This is it. It's like they're just talking about minimalism, but this is really specific, nuanced, striking, not super washed out kind of minimalism, like a hefty minimalism. This idea of a simple, glamorous minimalism. So this section's called Back to Basics in the article, but to me, they're talking about like a glamorous minimalism that has to do with striking simplicity. This is everything to me. This is where I've been headed. Like this one is where I've been headed personally. After all I've been through, starting with those miserable high school years, out of all that I've been through fashion-wise and all the changes and ups and downs, many of which have been documented on this channel, y'all. I mean, some of the changes have been pretty recent, and my life has changed dramatically recently. That's a factor as well. After all that I've been through, this is where I've arrived. And this exact, what they're saying is a trend. I feel like it's just the new definition of what's great. In my life, that's what it is. This is me now. So I'm really into it. Get a jump on minimalism with hardworking basics, each with just enough personality not to fade into the background. That's exactly how I feel about the fewer nicer things that I'm trying to collect into my wardrobe. Okay, that one's a serve. Number 7, kitten heels. It's okay. They're okay, I guess. I mean, I've worn a kitten heel in my life, or two. It's good that they're easy to walk in, that makes it a more accessible kind of shoe, more accessible trend. They're easy to walk in, but they don't make you feel spry. You know what I mean? Because that little heel, it's like that little heel keeps you from feeling as spry as you maybe could otherwise. So I feel like, just spit on myself. It's fine. My reaction, my feeling about kitten heels right now, I realize from where I sit, is that they have the drawbacks of like real heels that like change the way your foot is interacting with the ground. The drawbacks of heels like that, but without the benefits, like the visual and postural benefits, kind of like you're just like the little kitten heels coming in just make you a little unsteady and make you feel a little dressed up, but you're not getting the impact, the magnificent impact that a pair of real heels can give. Now, of course, I think it's possible to think about it the other way, right? I think for a lot of people, kitten heels give you the benefit of heels in terms of formality, the way that you walk, the outfits you can put them with, a little bit of height, those benefits, but without the drawbacks of higher heels, difficult to walk in, basically, and owier for your feet. I have a lot of experience walking in heels because of my time as a tango dancer. So I feel like, to me, the benefits outweigh the drawbacks of actual heels, and therefore a kitten heel is like, why? Why wouldn't you just wear a heel? But I could totally see how it would be the other way for people who don't feel as comfortable walking in heels. So for me, it's okay, I guess. I think for a lot of people, it's great. Next up, butter yellow. Butter yellow is the color of the year. Jake Henry, you shock me. The unexpected neutral is pretty much the perfect shade. I don't feel that way, considering that you can pair it with anything. Black, white, navy, denim, blue, pink. I don't feel that way. And it should please both color lovers and monochromatic dressers. I don't feel that way as a monochromatic dresser. I mean, I guess if it were a really beautiful shade, if it was a really beautiful, really buttery, very neutral shade, so like somewhere between butter yellow and sandy beige, like really that neutral, and it was a whole monochromatic outfit, I might be able to get behind that. I might get into that, especially if there was like a butter yellow leather bag with it or a raffia bag with it. But then it doesn't, I feel, mesh well. I don't know if it will mesh well with my other things. I was all set to just completely reject this trend. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking about my wardrobe, I can kind of see the point. I can kind of see the point about the actual butter yellow. So the very pale and slightly neutral version of it, as opposed to just like, it's just yellow and we're saying it's butter yellow so that we can say we're on trend. I'm not into that. The actual buttery shade, like the whitish yellow, I could see that feeling chic. I just don't see myself buying it. Who does it look good on? Some people, I guess. It reminds me of old-fashioned baby clothes. Yeah, I can sort of see the vision, but it's like a fantasy that probably wouldn't manifest well in reality because I fear that it wouldn't look good on me and it wouldn't look good with my stuff. It also feels like it's just as potentially delicate as white in certain ways, as some people think white is, but harder to wash than white is for me. Like, I feel like white is a lot easier to maintain and also has this really amazing payoff of being like super sharp and clean and bright. There's just nothing like it. This is like a step less fresh than white, but harder to maintain because it's like, what do you wash it with? I don't want to wash yellow stuff with my white clothes because I only wash my white clothes with other white clothes. But this is too pale of a color to wash with like black clothes or even those like mid-toned gray. I guess you would wash them with like the grays and taupes and, mid-toned print fabrics. But I worry that they would make the butter yellow dingy because it's just that pale. Yeah, this is a mess to me. I feel like it's also going to be a flash in the pan. It's going to come and go. Next up, shimmer and shine. Love it forever. Oh, this reminds me, I meant to wear like a sequin. The issue is that everything's still packed. I'm trying to film like a full wardrobe declutter as I unpack my wardrobe, which is a great idea. I know, a great idea. It's going to be great. Multiple videos, but it is taking us a while to get set up to be able to do that, which means that all my clothes are still packed. So I was going to try to dig out like a sequin shirt to wear for this to show my support of number 9 Shimmer and Shine, but I forgot. Unleash your inner Studio 54 groupie by shimmering in paillettes, rhinestones, and metallics. I especially like this next bit. Take a note from the styling at Gucci and pair your most eye-catching pieces with plain jeans or tees. Yeah, I really like that. I like the idea of wearing sequins for day, one of my favorite fashion concepts of all time, sequins for day. Number 10, Mary Jane flats. Okay, we've been here. We were here in a previous reacting to fashion trends video in which I said, show me a pair of flats that looks good and you will be showing me a brand new pair of flats. I just made the argument that ballet flats always look bad. They always get beat up within a couple of days and everyone always looks like flat-footed and messy walking around and they end up looking bad. That was what I said. And I kind of still, here's what's happened since I filmed that video. Many a time, my eye has been caught about by a flat, not in real life, but on the internet shopping. And I've been like, I would feel pretty sporty and chic just skipping about town in a little ballet flat. Like I've started to see the appeal and remember how spry I used to feel when I was springing about town in ballet flats that I used to wear that used to always look bad pretty much immediately, but I didn't care, I guess, at that time. Maybe my standards were lower. I've started to not even just envision myself getting a pair of flats, but envision myself getting a pair of mesh. I think I really hung mesh shoes out to dry when I first came across it. In one of these videos, I was like, talk about a material that's going to fall apart in 2 seconds and the last thing that you would want to make a shoe out of. Mesh. Like leather mesh or mesh. But now I'm over here like, I would look and feel so fierce in a pair of mesh flats. Like that is my current feeling. I probably won't actually get one because by the time I have been thinking about it for long enough to actually want to get it, either it's going to be fall or it'll be fall. That's what it'll be. It'll be fall. And we know that this trend isn't coming back next year. This is a very definition of like a 3 months out of our lifetime trend. So no, I mean, I'm not going to be buying the mesh flats. I mean, maybe a pair of flats if they're still trending next year. And not because I want to be on trend, but because they would be around. Like there would be a bunch to choose from. But my own words echo in the back of my mind about how they always look bad after a couple of wears. They only look good when they're new. Okay, number 11, statement belts. I hate it. I don't know. I hate it. They all look bad to me. I know that that's not a nuanced criticism. These big interlocked rings. I mean, maybe it is because of having grown up in the 90s, early 2000s, and it feels like not the good parts of that. There are some things I'm okay with reviving. I'm starting to see how chic it can look to have this kind of fresh take on 90s and 2000s fashion now with some things like the slip dresses. Those look great. They look great. The interlocking rings belt, the big flat leather circles with brass grommets on it belt, the hip belt. It just reminds me of something that you found in someone's attic and you want it to be cool because it's vintage, but it just looks uncool. It just looks bad. To me, that's how it feels to me. That's how it feels to me. I'm sure there are people pulling it off and making it look amazing, and some of those people are probably some of you. I am sure you look amazing. I think you do know what you're doing and that you look amazing. For me, it's not going to be big belts this season. And that is it. We're at the bottom of the list. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think of these trends. Has anyone tried the mesh flats? It's time for another hot takes video, this time fall fashion hot takes. I'm going to be reacting to fall fashion trends and, as always, kind of casting them in the light of practicality, thoughtful consumerism, and the quest for fewer, nicer things. Because sometimes trends can actually sharpen our vision as we quest towards fewer, nicer things, and sometimes they can knock us off of the path. If this happens to be your first time watching one of my videos, welcome to my channel. My name's Hannah. I am a writer and I just published my first book in March. I will link it down below. And I make these YouTube videos about aesthetics at large, fashion, beauty, etc., etc. And I hope you will enjoy it. Now let's go ahead and get into the meat of this video. So for fashion hot takes, I usually find a comprehensive listicle or article on a trusted fashion site. And last time I did this, when I was talking about summer trends, I found this write-up by this writer for Glamour, Jake Henry Smith, and I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed his writing. I enjoyed the distillation that he presented. I enjoyed reacting to that specifically. I went looking this time and I found Jake Henry Smith's Fall 2024 Fashion Trends You Need in Your Closet Now, which suspiciously was the same link on the Google homepage when I searched. I think that it's just the same listing, like the same article, but they've gone in and changed most of the trends, but as we will see, not all of them. And Jake Henry Smith has changed some of the language, updated it for fall. So first I was like, aha, I smell a rat. But then I was like, no, actually, there's a lot of new stuff here. And it's perfect because, Jake Henry and I, we have history. We have a rapport. So we're digging into this list. And I have not prepared at all. These are truly hot, piping hot takes looks. I'm just giving them to you as they occur to me. Also, there are 14. I don't know if we have that much time. We'll just do what we can. Trend number 1, country house chic. Fall's most alluring trend. That is strong language, at least in the eyes of the Glamour style team. So everyone agrees, everyone at Glamour and Jake Henry all agree. Fall's most alluring trend is a confluence of plaids, relaxed layers, and long skirts. It's dressing as though you decamp to a country house. Okay, immediate reaction. I like this because it's warm. I like this because it's warm. The barn jacket thing, I like. I like taking something you could wear around a campfire and that maybe you do wear around a campfire and making it fashion, putting it on the runway and making it so that you can wear it with things like gowns, long skirts, etc. And everyone's like, oh, that looks great because this year it's fashion. And I like it because that's a practical item that you might already have, that you can find at a thrift store, that you can run into the ground. It doesn't have to look brand new. It's not marred by age. In fact, age adds value, and that's exactly the kind of thing that I like in fashion. I like something that gets better over time instead of getting less appealing once the gloss of newness has worn away. Arguably, that's true for all of these things. The knee-high rain boots, thick cable knit tights. The models, the runway models on the Glamour article show a riotous mix of plaids. I'm a fan of print mixing in general, and I've done it a lot in my past. Right now, I'm really leaning into solids and neutrals and like a really minimal color palette. So I won't be doing this, but I will be incorporating silhouettes and much more casual, like workwear and weekend wear and hiking type of clothes that fit with my palette into more elevated outfits in the way of this principle, in the way of this trend. But there are things that I already own. There'll be things I already own. I'm not going to go out and buy something specific to this. And I actually do feel like it's not advisable to buy things specific to that trend unless you really need them for the long haul. This kind of look is in right now, but it's going to be out at some point. It's too specific, I feel, to persist like season after season, year after year. So unless you are then going to turn around and wear this plaid dress in your life like every winter because it's very you, don't get it just for the trend, you know? Okay, boho 3.0. This was in the other article. I hope I'll be able to remember everything. I like this actually because it's Jake Henry Smith's same article rewritten for fall, and he's pulled some of the trends through from summer to fall, which tells me that someone who pays more attention to the runways than I do, knows that the trend is persisting, is lasting, and I like having that thread. But I said what I have to say about boho in the spring summer fashion trends video, which is just that I was such a boho girly in the past that it makes me uncomfortable now. So I'm not going to be doing this. But I think I also said that I really liked the way that the boho runway looks were looking, and that's even more true right now. Like this feather skirt, are you kidding me? And that doesn't even look that boho to me. This black top with the feather skirt, that actually looks extremely modern, like contemporary, minimal. It's like something that is traditionally boho, but made sleeker. And let's see if that's what Jake Henry is saying. It's the third coming of the boho aesthetic. He says, yeah, it's just generally saying that the current take on boho is fresher. I feel like it's fresher specifically because it's more polished, more pulled together. All three of these looks, the Ulla Johnson, Chloe, and oh no, Bottega Veneta?
Bottega Veneta.
I know that that's not it. We want the Italian pronunciation.
In English and American, the name of this Italian luxury goods and high fashion brand, founded in 1966 in Vicenza. That's in the north of the country, in the Veneto, around the city of Venice. So how do you go about pronouncing this in Italian? Bottega Veneta.
Bottega Veneta. Okay, so the Ulla Johnson, Chloe, and Bottega Veneta. Bottega Veneta. I did take a year of Italian. I was like semi-fluent in Italian when I studied abroad in Florence. I remember having whole conversations with people about things that had happened, like with a shopkeeper, about getting locked out of my apartment. And now I can't even pronounce Bottega Veneta without looking it up on the internet. So it's the Bottega Veneta look that I feel really shows the way in which boho has been freshened up. It's been made sleeker. Boho has traditionally I feel a kind of messiness to it and also a kind of dustiness. And I feel that these looks are very pulled together. I like that, but I'm still not going to be doing this unless it's in that minimalist, that sharp minimalist way. Like I would wear that black angular top, the like one shoulder top with the black and white feather skirt. I would wear that. I feel like it would actually fit into my wardrobe. So go figure. There is some crossover between what I'm into and boho. And I recently posted a video about my current aesthetic, digging deep into that. that. So if you'd like the context, then click through and watch that one. Trend number 3, denim on denim. Much has been said about denim on denim. Every time I mention it, there's someone in the comments like, not the Canadian tuxedo. And indeed, Jake Henry Smith says the Canadian tuxedo has been the subject of some ridicule, but fashion insiders agree. This is the season of the full denim look. I've got to say, I kind of like it. I object to an objection that is theoretical. I feel like the concept Canadian tuxedo, denim on denim, anything can be done well or done poorly, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I think denim on denim can be done quite poorly in a way that reeks of Canadian tuxedo, and that is just like, oh my God. It can be done in an inelegant way, in a way that looks just kind of like, oh, I only wear jeans, and then I don't have anything to wear on top except for this jean jacket or something. So it's like, oh, you're wearing jeans on top and you're wearing jeans on bottom. Like, it doesn't match, it doesn't really go together, but it's both denim, it's a Canadian tuxedo. I feel like it can be done awkwardly, but I also feel like it can be done really chicly and elegantly, and kind of in two ways. The models that we're seeing here are wearing what are clearly matched sets, two-piece outfits made of the exact same denim, in some cases sort of the same pattern, like a pattern of pieced denim put together, and it's done on the top and it's done on the bottom. So this doesn't give Canadian tuxedo, right? This gives outfit. This gives two-piece outfit. And the fact that the fabric is denim doesn't all of a sudden make it canceled, because it's being done tastefully. But I also feel like it can be done well in a more casual way, as long as you're really inhabiting the garments and they feel really you. Sometimes it can be, different kinds of denim, not necessarily the same color, like the opposite of matchy-matchy, basically. As long as it's intentional and it's worn with confidence, I feel like you don't fall into the Canadian tuxedo trap. So what I was trying to say is I kind of object to an objection that doesn't take into account the way in which a thing can be worn well. And it's just like, oh, I can't even look at it because it has something in common with this concept that has traditionally been maligned. I like this because it's monochromatic, because I love an outfit that has the same color on top as it does on the bottom. I like a two-piece set. I like a really cohesive outfit. I like something where there's not too much going on, right? Where it's minimal in one way, even if it's maximal in another way. One way for an outfit to be minimal in one way for it to be minimal in one way. One way for an outfit to be minimal is for it to be all the same fabric, top and bottom, and then it can be maximal in terms of silhouette, and that I like that. I prefer that to a boring, basic silhouette that has a bunch of different fabrics or a variety of fabrics. So I you could say even prefer denim on denim to a lot of things, actually. All right, trend number 4, riding boots. Did they go anywhere though? Because a lot of people wear riding boots every winter. It just means flat, high boots, like knee-high flat boots. Footwear trends are tough because it's like shoes. You have to have shoes that support your feet, that are comfortable, that fit with a lot of outfits. Shoes are a very practical buy, and they're expensive. They tend to be more expensive than the other elements of an outfit, especially if you're trying to get well-made shoes that will last. It rubs me the wrong way to think of buying a certain kind of shoe because it's trendy this season, because I'm always thinking about how the shoe's going to look next year and the year after that and the year after that. I'm still wearing my winter boots from like 2 winters ago, which are Lug's old Chelsea boots. Probably not as trendy right now as riding boots, but they're still in beautiful shape. They're really great shoes. They still go with all my clothes. I'm still going to continue to wear them instead of buying riding boots. So that's why this makes me, I see this and I'm like, riding boots suddenly trending is making my really beautiful investment pieces, my Chelsea boots, potentially in the eyes of some people look outdated or outmoded. I mean, I'm not going to pay heed to that. I'm going to keep wearing them, but I don't like it. It's funny, something like denim on denim or the barn jacket trend, I'm like, yeah, lots of people have outerwear that can kind of work with that. Or, you might have a denim jacket somewhere and you might also have some jeans and you can just wear them together and you can do the trend. So I feel like there's this sort of digging into your own closet and putting things together in a new way, guidance that's given by those trends, and I'm into that. Riding boots, it's like, well, maybe you already have some riding boots, but it's just like, oh no, these are the cool shoes right now and anything else is not good. But so many people already have the shoes that they're going to wear this winter, I guess. And I don't know. I'm not as into it. It's nothing against riding boots. I think they're fine. The boots themselves are fine. It's kind of timeless. So if you buy a pair right now, you can probably wear it for a long time and it's not going to feel super outdated. It doesn't hit right for me, footwear trends like this. And I kind of had the same objection to the ballet flats in the last video. Oh, Look at this one. Dark cherry accessories, the cherry cola trend. I love it. And this is the kind of trend that could potentially lead someone to buy a bunch of stuff that they're not going to wear for very long, or they're only going to wear for one season. Especially if you want your shoes and bag to match, and you buy shoes, then you have to buy a bag. And then if you buy a hat and a scarf, I mean, I could just see someone being like, I'm going to go for the cherry cola accessories look this season. Then you're like buying a bag, buying a scarf, buying a hat, buying shoes. That's a lot. And it's going to be very noticeable as last year's trend next year. I already have a burgundy bag. I own a burgundy, like a small purse. I'm excited to carry that bag, and I'm excited to figure out how I can make it work with shoes that don't match it in color, like with other accessories. But I think that we as consumers need to be wary of going all in with the dark cherry accessories trend, because it's so recognizable. It takes a lot to pull it off. Like, it takes investing in a lot of pieces, and it's so recognizable, and it's going to continue to be recognizable as what it is past when it's the freshest thing. I mean, saying this to myself just as much as to anyone, to everyone, because I've been tempted to like go out and buy burgundy everything and dark cherry everything. But I think one is enough. Like, one little shoe or one little pair of sunnies in this shade is going to be enough to play with this trend if you're into it. And if you already have things in that color, if that's been your accessories color, it's your moment to shine. All right, we're only on number 6. If I'm going to make it through all 14, I'm going to have to give some faster hot takes, and I have one for this. 6. Studs, studs, studs. I don't like them. I don't like studs on clothes. What does Jake Henry have to say? Hey, stud. Thanks to boho's big resurgence, studs are also back in the spotlight, and more prominently than ever. Then he just says, studs graced bags, belts, boots, and jackets on a bunch of runways. We've been seeing a bunch of runway studs. There's no other commentary. I just don't like them. It's like heavy metal lumps on your clothes. Looks uncomfortable. Looks sometimes a little tacky to me. All of this is sort of objective. I don't have much of substance to say about this. It's just when I see something with studs on it, I'm like, no. Yeah, no, I just don't like the way that they look. I've never owned a studded garment, and I don't really get it. But I think I can say that I don't get it. That's kind of on me. You know, there's something that other people see in studs, and I'm sure it's valid. It's just an easy one for me to pass on. And I think it just has something to do with it's tactile. You know, it's like all this metal weighing something down, and all of this adornment that doesn't have a reason. It doesn't feel like it's elegantly integrated into the use value of the item. I think that that's why it doesn't work for me. Okay, number 7, prep school. We talked about this in summer, and I bared my soul about the wounds of my youth. And if you need to see me doing that, you can go back and watch the other video. I said I kind of like it, but I don't really wear it. I kind of feel like that now, although it's easier for me in the fall. In the fall, I can actually get in touch with my preppy side. A cardigan here, a vest there. I feel like riding boots are a little preppy, maybe a pleated skirt. I do sort of undone, slouchy preppy pretty well in the fall, actually. So I'm not against it. I think it's a little easier to pull off right now. Whereas in the summer, it was like tennis skirts and stuff like that. And that was a no for me. But I think that there's a lot of fall clothing that isn't necessarily preppy on its own. Like a trouser, for example, isn't necessarily preppy. But if you put it with a blazer or a collared shirt, style it a certain way, then it can be preppy, and you can kind of lean into this trend. And again, I like that. I like it when a trend is something that you can piece together from what you already have just by styling it in a certain way. Loafers. Oh, that's the next one. Number 8, chunky loafers. Everything I said about riding boots and about footwear trends out the window, because I want a pair of chunky loafers. I didn't realize this. Oh, but this is interesting. After a few seasons in the fashion doghouse, brands like Gucci and Victoria Beckham are going big on stacked loafers for fall. Jake Henry, I don't mean to nitpick, but grammatically, and this might be what you meant, grammatically, this means that brands like Gucci and Victoria Beckham were in the fashion doghouse for a few seasons, and now they're going big on stacked loafers for fall. I think it's quite possible that what Jake Henry meant was that stacked loafers have been in the fashion doghouse for a few seasons, but now brands like Gucci and Victoria Beckham are going big on them for fall. I think that might be what he meant. I don't think Gucci and Victoria Beckham were in the fashion doghouse, were they? You thought this video was about fashion, but it turned out to be a grammar lesson. Anyway, chunky loafers, what can I say? He's saying right here, I think he's saying that they are in right now, but they were just out. So what I want to say is like, oh, a chunky loafer is enduring if you get one, or if I get some. If I get a pair of chunky loafers, I'll be able to wear them forever. But what if they go back into the fashion doghouse? I'm not into that way of thinking about shoes, right? I'm not into that language. I will just continue to wear them. If you are worried about that kind of thing, then I would say that this is cautionary language and you should not jump on this bandwagon, right? You should not get the chunky loafers at all if you feel that you will be ashamed to wear them in a coming year. And I guess this is the kind of shoe that happens to. I just think it's great. I think a very chunky loafer is a way to bring a preppy look into kind of like the minimalist modern space. Leopard print, a controversial print. Is that what Jake Henry said? Oh, divisive. He used the word divisive. Mob wife winter has evolved. Welcome to leopard print fall. So many of our favorite designers showed the divisive print for fall. Actually, I was just talking about leopard print with some Gen Z women. My cousin who just graduated from college is living in our house for a couple of months. Some of her friends were over for dinner last week and the topic of leopard print came up and one of her friends memorably said, we were talking about whether it's cool or not. I might have even asked them what they thought. One of her friends memorably said, what did she say? I think she might have said it depends on the print. Everybody agreed that it depends on the exact print. And then I think that my cousin's friend said black and yellow bad, brown and orange good. I think she just meant that if you've got kind of like a warm brown toned leopard print, that feels like that's in for fall. Whereas like a really stark black and yellow leopard print still feels tacky, right? We also discussed how it sort of depends on the silhouette, but I really buy this thing about the colors in the print. And I think that if you're dealing with colors that make the print feel like it's on the neutral side in terms of the palette, leopard print kind of is a neutral. I've heard this said before and it stuck with me and I always think of it this way. Leopard print is a neutral. If you think of it that way, you can make sense of it very easily and wear it very easily. But it makes the most sense, I think, as an accessory rather than like a full garment. Number 10, butter yellow. Here we are again. Fancy meeting you here. Butter yellow was on the list in the spring and summer. So I'm not really going to talk about it. I still feel the same way. These really bright butter yellow colors, I think that that's tough to wear. I've come across some sort of champagne-y things in my wardrobe since then that arguably are on the butter yellow spectrum that I think are beautiful. I can get behind that. A cream neutral with a bit more yellow pigment than most creams. But what we're seeing here are strong yellows, more what I would think of as butter yellow. Although these Jeffrey Campbell shoes, I'm like clicking on the link from these Jeffrey Campbell slightly heeled ballet like glove flats are yummy. They look yummy to me. I'm reading the reviews. Yeah, they look yummy and they look fashion and I want them. And they're yellow. They're butter yellow. I could see how a shoe like this could go with a bunch of neutral outfits and be a pop of color that's not too strong of color. So I can see the appeal of butter yellow there. What I said in the other video about how this idea of dressing yourself in butter yellow from head to toe, as much as I love a monochromatic outfit, I think it's rough because it's like, how do you wash it? You can't put it in with your dark colors, but you can't put it in with your white clothes. Does this stay looking good over time? Is it going to be relevant in your future? You know, but I love butter yellow as a leather color. I love butter yellow leather. And everything about that trend that appeals to me is leather, like leather clothes or leather accessories. That's my hot take. Butter yellow for clothing, very hard to pull off without it looking dingy. Okay, trend 11, T-bar shoes. I actually have a strong opinion about T-bar shoes, which is that they're usually not flattering because they kind of cut off the leg. And this is just me calling on my vast experience with tango shoes, shoes for dance, because I danced tango for a really long time every day. It was like my main thing I was doing in my life for a decade. And some tango shoes have this T-bar styling. If the strap across the front of the ankle is pulled down to a point by the bar, or not, that's the bar, but by the strap that connects to the front of the shoe, so that, you know, you look down the leg and then right at the ankle, there's like a V shape made by the bar being pulled down. That is a really nice shape for a shoe on a leg. That makes a really nice line. If the strap just cuts straight across your ankle or your foot or your leg or something, it really cuts off the leg and that's tough to work with. That's my assessment. And I do tend to shy away from these kinds of fisherman style sandals where the bar goes straight across for that reason, if it's like higher up on the foot, closer to the ankle. Trend number 12, fur for all, faux fur. And I love texture. I love dramatic silhouette. I do feel like voluminous faux fur garments tend to be minimal in terms of color to balance out the fact that the texture and the volume and the silhouette are so dramatic. And that's the exact kind of balance that I like. What I was saying before, if something has a basic silhouette but is very busy in terms of print or color, that's not my favorite. If something has really dramatic silhouette and texture but is very minimal in terms of its palette, in terms of its color, I'm really into that. That's like my favorite thing. So this tends to be my favorite thing. I like it. I like where we're going, and I love the images from the runway under this category. 13, neckties. Wow, I haven't seen this anywhere. Apparently, few accessories have dominated Fashion Month as much as neckties. Once a symbol of structure and conformity, ties now signal a playful subversiveness that feels now. So I'm very into that. I love a playful subversiveness. I've only ever worn a tie when I've been like dancing in the leading role in tango. So it feels like a very costumey thing to do to me. It's hard for me to imagine it. In the images, these models are all wearing suits, like really, well, no, two of these are street style. These are amazing, these outfits, but they're all with collared shirts, so I don't feel like it's just the tie that's the trend that's serving playful subversiveness. It's like wearing the top part of the underlayer of a business outfit, like a shirt and tie, but make it fashion, but make it slouchy. It's strong. It's a strong look, the way it's being worn here. It feels, for me personally in my day-to-day life, like a bridge too far in terms of adornment. Because the thing about a tie is it doesn't serve a purpose. And I struggle with garments that are just extraneous, just flapping around for looks. So it's very much not for me, but I love it. I love it. I love the way that it looks, and I love that people are doing this. And number 14, glove flats. So here we go. We've gone from ballet flats, which were on the spring summer list, to glove flats, and we're going to see how fickle I am, because I love a glove flat. And I noticed a bunch of glove flats on my personal inspo board when I filmed that video about my personal style and how it's evolving. I've been keeping my eye out for glove flats. The reason that I fell in love with those leather butter yellow heeled flats, they're glove flats. A glove flat is like a second skin shoe that goes all the way up. Like a ballet flat sort of just covers the toes and sometimes not even the whole toe. And a glove flat goes more of the way up the foot, like closer to the ankle. So it's sort of like you've stuck your foot into a glove. I don't know. It's the sleek, minimal, textural, silhouette-oriented thing. And right here, what Jake Henry says about it kind of explains, I think, why I react this way. He says, while busier ballet flats are still very much in the mix, designers and style influencers have been influenced by perhaps the simplest silhouette of all, the glove flat. Free from straps, bows, and other embellishments, these shoes aren't meant to shock, but they can still define an outfit. Exactly. That's exactly what I love right now in fashion. I don't tend to be into things that are busy. This is really me giving me a hot take coming from the point of view of my personal style. I feel like I've sort of been doing that the whole time. I like something that can define an outfit without being about shock value or loud, without being loud. It's almost like the sleek serenity of the glove flat is what defines the outfit and also affects the way you walk. If I get some glove flats, will have to find some that support my feet because I feel like a shoe has to be ergonomic in some way. It performs a practical function. But since they're trending, hopefully it won't be too hard to find a pair that suits me, but probably not until next year. I'm probably not going to be able to buy them this fall, but I'll be keeping an eye out. However, what I said about ballet flats is that they just always seem to fall apart. And I feel like glove flats potentially have the same issue or even worse because it's like thin leather clinging to your foot. Just how long is that going to last? How long is it going to look good? Something to think about before you or I invest in a pair of glove flats. And that is it. I kind of like where we're going. I feel like there's a lot that's, what did Jake Henry say about the ties? Playfully subversive. It seems like there's a lot that's playfully subversive, a lot to sink one's teeth into. Most importantly, a lot that can be done with what you already own, a lot that you can find in thrift shops, but Fall fashion, according to this list, it feels kind of comfortable to me. Like it feels like there's not all that much that's really intense. Like you have to be wearing this now or it doesn't look good or you look like you're not in. There's a lot of mixing high and low. There's a lot of mixing new and old, a lot of comfort. And in the context of my recent video about my personal style and where I think it's going, this makes me all the more excited to dig into building a capsule wardrobe for fall, which I'll be doing very soon. We're here today to discuss 2025 winter fashion trends, although I guess it's the 2020. So I just had a moment. I have this article pulled up as my reference. It's called The Best Winter 2024 Fashion Trends. And I was all ready to film. And then I looked at it and I was like, wait a minute, is this from last year? But no, it's this winter. It was just published at the end of last year in December of 2024. It could have been a disaster. But I would have known, right? When I was prepping this, I would have known if it was from last year because I remember the trends from last year and these aren't them. This is the moment. We're going to talk about it. Do we care? What is a trend anyway? And do we need to buy things in order to wade into the waters of these trends? Probably not. That's what the video is about. If you like it, maybe consider subscribing. Let's get into the meat of the video. Wow, I did say I was going to start saying, and my name is Hannah, and I'm a writer, and I have a prize-winning book of poetry available to purchase, and I will link that down below. I did say I was going to start doing that more regularly this year, and I have not. I'm still weary. 2025 is here, and yet I am still world weary. Before I start, quick reminder, Julia Frodal's meditation intensive, Become Ocean, is starting this weekend, like the weekend that we're in as we speak. But I think that the class is on Sunday. So it might have already started, but it might not be too late to join. I think that she usually leaves enrollment open like until the Tuesday after the first class. It might not be too late to join. I'm taking it again this year. I just so appreciate the community that Julia has built, learning how to meditate, how to love it, how to relish the state of being inside of meditation rather than just wanting to make myself do it for the result, even though the results are many. Also loving doing it for its own sake, which is what I learned from Julia. It has affected me profoundly. It has made me the person that I now am. And that's why I always try to issue a brief reminder when Julia is teaching this class again. So I'll link it down below, all of the information. Okay, I am referencing Harper's Bazaar, the best winter 2024 fashion trends. This season is all about daytime party clothes, oxblood office attire, and updated English country classics. Some of what I discussed in my most recent fashion commentary video, which is about fall fashion, some of it has carried through, of course, because it hasn't been that long. Some trends are lasting longer than a mere month. But I like the way that this listicle, or article, I guess, is kind of reframing and updating some things we've already discussed. Scarf necklines, however, the first thing we haven't discussed. This wasn't in anything that I referenced for any of the past fashion videos last year, end of last year, but I did notice this trend when I was reacting to unhinged knitwear available on the market and then later reacting to winter coats. I filmed a couple of videos where I was basically diving into my own brain, the way that I think about things when I'm browsing shops and kind of assessing what's available and thinking about what I might want to wear, what I might want to buy. When I am looking for something like a winter coat or just looking at knitwear, which I do frequently, the wheels are turning. And I just put on the camera and like narrated what was happening when the wheels were turning in those two videos. And one of the things that happened was I came across these unhinged coats and unhinged sweaters where there was like a scarf attached to the thing and it was like wrapped around and sagging, pulling down, and in some cases looking really awkward, in some cases kind of working. Harper's Bazaar has also noticed that scarf necklines are a thing. I must say this golden mustard coat situation in the photo collage on Harper's Bazaar to illustrate this item, I guess it's the row. That is a much better execution of a scarf neckline than anything we saw in either of those other videos. Not so this leather one. That looks a bit awkward to me. It's sculptural on the runway, but how would it look in real life? It would just flop over. It would just be like flaps. It would look like something went wrong. And then this Jill Sander, I assume that that's what this is, the white one. I mean, stunning. I love something sculptural, but totally impractical. Scarf coats have been trending since the beginning of fall. We've all noticed. I'm reading from Harper's Bazaar now. And now designers are tapping into this dreamy neckline for sweaters and blouses. These tops and coats will look polished when paired with monochromatic pants. Grammatically, I feel this means that pants can't really be monochromatic. Most pants are. I should say most pants are monochromatic, meaning like the pair of pants is only one color. I think what she's trying to say is pants that are the same color as the top, right? So if you build a monochromatic outfit with one of these sweaters or coats and with pants that match it, then they will look polished. But what she has said is they will look polished when paired with monochromatic pants, meaning if you pair them with any pant that is only one color inside of the boundaries of the pant. Harper's Bazaar, are you hiring an editor? Are you hiring anybody? Do you need a grammar stickler? Do you need a fashion passionate grammar stickler to comb through articles you published last year and make tweaks? If you are, sorry, I'm busy because this is my job. These tops and coats will look polished when paired with monochromatic pants, but feel coolest with a pair of black or cream jeans and boots. This is so specific. These are really specific directives. Also, a pair of black or, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. They'll feel coolest with a pair of black or cream jeans and boots. I am filled with delight at how confusing that is. These tops and coats will feel coolest with a pair of black or cream jeans and boots. I think she must mean either black jeans and black boots or cream jeans and cream boots. Oh, no, maybe she means a pair of black or cream jeans and boots. That has to be it. That has to be it. Okay, a pair of black or cream jeans and boots. What does this have to do with whether a scarf neckline is enticing, acceptable, something that we care about, you might ask? Everything and nothing is what I would say to you. Scarf neckline, fine. I actually feel like a trend like this is interesting because I don't think it can go out of style, right? It's like on and off year for scarf necklines, like 3 years from now when this is no longer, when the name on everybody's lip is no longer scarf neckline. You know what I mean? 3 years from now when it's gone and forgotten. If you wear a coat with an attached scarf, it's still gonna look good as long as the coat is beautiful. This is how I feel. Easy to fail at, easy for a designer to execute in an awkward way. So unfortunately, in my observation, there are a lot of pieces floating around right now that are trying to do this and they're doing it badly. And those pieces are always gonna be awkward. But if it's executed beautifully like this coat from the row, that's timeless. Even though it's clearly on trend right now, if it's beautifully executed, it's never gonna be dated. Something sculptural like this. It's artistic. You know, it's really lovely. And I also like that it's sort of vintage. It seems like something that someone might have been doing in the 50s, 40s. You know, there's something about like those vintage illustrations of patterns. Like it gives me those vibes a little bit, but obviously contemporary at the same time. I don't hate it, but I am also kind of unmoved by it. That's how I feel personally, aesthetically. If I found a coat that I really loved that happened to have a scarf neckline, I wouldn't deny myself because of my apathy about the scarf neckline. But it wouldn't be the scarf neckline that was selling me the coat. Festive day wear. I am so into so many aspects of this. Number one, can we have a moment? Look at this image. Look at this garment. We've got lavender. Such a pale lavender on top that it's almost gray, and I really like that. But that is neither here nor there because that's not what's making it festive. A sweater with a collar that as it gets halfway down itself just turns into large lint. A dust bunny from Super Mario World, where the Super Mario World level where you're tiny and everything's big. A dust bunny from that just wrapped around your middle. It's so like textile art vibes. It's so felted. It's so felt sculpture. I guess this is Loewe. So this is a bit much to be suggesting this image as the illustration of the festive day wear trend, because to me, festive day wear, that's like sequins for day. Like anyone can do it. Oh, that reminds me, we forgot to talk about the scarf coat, whether you need to buy something. Yeah, if you don't already have a scarf coat or a scarf sweater and you want a sweater that has a scarf attached, yeah, you do need to go out and buy something. So I'm not that into that. Might be tough to find at a thrift shop because it's really specific. Kind of tough to find in the back of your wardrobe because it's really specific, although maybe, but probably not. So yeah, not into that aspect of that trend. Festive day wear, however, easy. You just take your silk skirt that you usually only wear to dinner and you wear it to brunch, or or to work, you know? My favorite kind of trend is the one that only requires a rearranging, a reallocating of the garments that you already own and not acquisition. You know, if you want to look like this Loewe model, then yeah, you have to acquire something. So you have to acquire something. Not only does the sweater just become something else, not even a garment halfway down, but the bottom half is like a skirt that looks like pants, or maybe it's pants with one of those fold over necklines. The bottom half is really dynamic enough all on its own. I mean, this is very, say it with me, editorial, right? This is very much about fashion, talking about fashion inside of fashion, up, down, and all around town, upside down fashion, like fashion on fashion on fashion, you know? So it's whatever. It's not really all that relevant to us. What matters to us is that the trend that they're saying that this illustrates is festive day wear. And I love it. I think if it's a garment that you would feel comfortable in at night, at dinner, at a party, it's sparkly, then you'll feel comfortable in it even if you boldly wear it for a day. You know, you can make it work because it's already yours. It's already your evening wear. It already works for you. Potentially has some good memories attached, you know, if you wore it to a party that you had a really good time at, wore it to the club, danced all night. Embellished garments meant to be worn during the daytime hours. That's what we're seeing on runways. But, you know, all you have to do is take your festive garments and wear them during daytime hours. Maybe I should do it. It would be so easy just to put like a shiny thing on to film these presumably daytime videos. The vibe is usually daytime is what I'm trying to say. 3, boho goes countryside. So we talked about this. We've seen this before with Jake Henry Smith in the Vogue articles. I think it was Vogue. The other fashion commentary videos for this season. We're talking about boho. We're also talking about countryside. Jacqueline here is kind of saying, well, that's the same trend. We have like a combination of the things. We have a boho version of countryside dressing, where you have a slightly prepped up version of boho, which success. I feel like what we have here is success, because what better way to give boho a little backbone, a little bit of masculinity? What better way than to combine it with the preppiness of countryside chic, you know? And what better way to take the uncomfortably poncy edge off of countryside chic than to make it a little bit boho? Now, here they're saying that brands have been designing pieces that combine those two aesthetics. And so ostensibly you would have to like buy a piece that combines those aesthetics to really hit the nail on the head. But I don't think that's true. I think you could do it by combining high and low in your clothes, like in your outfits. You could wear your hunter rain boots with like your ruffly lace skirt, and then you're succeeding at what these individual garments are succeeding at inside of themselves. I'm not that into that one personally. I'm more over here just wearing taupe and maybe a sequin, but I like it. I like the theory of it. I like it in theory, and I like the theory of it. I had to change the monitor battery, and when I came back, I was like, what is happening with my hair? I feel like it's getting ever more unwieldy as the show goes on. Minimalist accessories. I mean, yes. Wow, I just went on a journey, a rapid circular journey in my head. At first I was like, well, yes, but what even constitutes this being a trend? Because isn't there always a spectrum of accessories available from maximal to minimal? Like, can't you always choose the simpler one? Can't you always just go with the plain black bag if you're going to buy a bag? You know, that was kind of what I was thinking. And then I was like, well, actually, a truly minimalist, like very streamlined shape for something like the bags that they're showing here, just like really minimal. Sometimes it's hard to find something like that. For most of my life, it's been hard to find something like that. And maybe right now I feel like it's a given because they're everywhere. Because all of a sudden I'm like, oh yeah, that's a beautiful bag. That's a beautiful bag. Because this is very much my taste, right? So I'm looking around right now and I'm like, oh, what a beautiful bag. What a beautiful bag. But I remember just a few years ago being like, can a girl get a bag without hardware? Like, how hard is it to make just an all leather bag? And now I feel like there are a lot of them. So yeah, it's true. I think accessories are becoming more minimal. Shoes, boots are becoming more streamlined right now. And I would never have thought of this. I wouldn't have picked up on this because it's kind of crept up on us. And I'm happy to see it. And it makes me think I should get while the getting's good. Because I do love every boot I see these days, every bag I see. I'm like, oh, that's so beautiful. I really love it. But the pendulum is going to swing back the other way. And when it swings, well, it's not as though the bags and boots that got manufactured during this time won't be out there anymore. They'll be on the secondhand market forever. And so maybe I should just wait and not worry about it but it's good to recognize when it's like your heyday in some way. And it is kind of my heyday. It's the heyday of the kinds of accessories that I like, that I've always liked and that I like to carry. But the Harper's Bazaar article says, so this is the comment on minimalist accessories. Make the effort of buying these once and you'll reap the benefits all winter long. As opposed to what? Buying a pair of shoes and only wearing it for a week and then getting a different shoe? Or like, because to me, the proper sentence is make the effort of buying these once and you'll reap the benefits for the next 10 years, like for several winters to come until they completely fall apart, because they'll always go with everything. They will stay relevant to whatever else you're wearing because it's kind of a morphable style, right? If something's minimal, it can go with a lot of different things, especially if it's classic, like these black accessories. Make the effort of buying these once and you'll reap the benefits all winter long. That should be true of everything you buy ever. Like any coat, any winter garment that you ever buy, you should be reaping the benefits all winter long. Next up, suede, corduroy, velvet. What is this? What are we talking about? Wardrobe staples in rich, deeply textured fabrics are so back. I'm here for this. What is more luxurious than an oversized blazer in suede? Sumptuous, winter-friendly colors. Corduroy. Yeah, I really like this. And here's why. Sorry, itchy nose. Because I think that texture is a critical and often overlooked aspect of an outfit and of home decor. Just design in general, I think that texture is so impactful, and a little bit of really intense texture can go a long way. So like a pair of really great deep whale corduroy trousers, for example, can carry you far. You can reap the benefits all winter long, my friends, of something like that. And they tend to be sturdy fabrics, so you can actually reap the benefits for the next 10 years. Fabrics like this, I feel like they have a better chance at holding their structure year after year, lasting year after year, also again staying relevant year after year, because these sumptuous winter fabrics are always going to make sense in winter, even if they're not trending. And it's the kind of thing you probably can dig out of your closet, and it's the kind of thing you can probably turn up at a thrift shop. I'm really into this. The idea that rich, textured, heavy fabrics are trending for winter. Shearling maxi coats, the total opposite. This is the kind of trend that I loathe. Really specific, really expensive, will very quickly be identifiable as something that was so last year. Like this will come and go. I mean, arguably that, so now I'm reading and it says the runways will full of long shearling coats in light colors. Yeah, arguably if you buy a long shearling coat in a light color or a faux shearling coat, right? Just like basically a very fluffy teddy coat that's full length. Arguably, it would be relevant year after year. If I bought one of these, because now I'm seeing, so when I was like shearling maxi coats, I was like, that's really specific. But now that I'm seeing the images of the coats, I'm like, oh, I like it. I like that because it's me, right? It's my palette. It's the drama that I like. It's the length that I like. Like this is the kind of garment I would actually like to own. So now I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, oh, what if I can't buy one of these like $4,000, coats. But what if I could? Like, what if I could afford one of these and I happened to buy one this season because they're everywhere because they're trending? I would totally wear it for the next 10 years. It would just be my winter coat and it would always feel very winter. And what I said about it being identifiable as something so last season, that would only be true if it was like, I was imagining they were all traditional shearling coats with the shearling on the inside and like the suede on the outside sort of stitched together, But no, they're talking about just long, light-colored coats that are fluffy in some way. That's really what they're talking about. And that's a broad enough category to be timeless. But unless you already happen to have, it's again, quite specific. Digging it out of your closet is going to be less likely. Finding it at a thrift store is going to be less likely. I'm not in favor of this kind of trend drumming up a craving, like a need. You look at it and you're like, oh, I need that. I need to fulfill this trend right now, this winter. I need to find one. I need to find the right one. I need to spend the money. No, I feel like if one were to come across one, that would be lovely. Like it's a really lovely thing, but it can kind of calm down. Like as a trend, I feel like we can calm down. Next up, chocolate brown. I really just Oh my gosh, I just stomped my feet on the floor. I really just wanted to make this video to talk about this. My feeling about this color for suede, for wool garments, just in general, as a neutral, as a staple, has really changed this season because it's in trend, because it's on trend, because it's in and on trend. And I am so fascinated when that happens. I feel like for a couple of years, to me, a dark brown like this for accessories has been my last choice when I'm thinking about what color accessories I might want. Shoes, bags, even something like a coat. I feel like a lot of people like brown and then a lot of other people tend to choose black instead. And I've always been like, oh, black. The fact that this is everywhere now, I'm seeing so many images that make it look so chic. And I think part of the reason that it has always felt like not the right dark neutral for me is that it gives me slightly dated vibes. Like brown suede boots gives me kind of 80s vibes, like 80s and 90s vibes. Maybe even slightly dusty, like early 2000s vibes. Something that I saw when I was young, but not quite old enough to have my own style. And so it felt aspirational then, but then by the time I evolved into my own style, then it felt like it was from the past, from a past part of my fashion psyche. And so I sort of dropped it and moved on to something that felt fresh to me. It's always given me that. And so I've never been interested, but now I'm seeing all these images that are serving this up on a contemporary platter, the espresso martini vibe. And it's making it feel not only fresh for now, but also it's making me see the deep appeal, like the original appeal of the 90s version of this kind of thing. And it feels cool again. It feels like it's come back around, but I'm in touch with it in a way that I don't think I ever really was. Because I don't think I had the eye, like the acumen, the fashion acumen to see it for what it was when it was cool before. The question is it going to stick for me? Like in my psyche, is dark brown going to stay as appealing as it feels right now? Or is it just a flash in the pan? I don't know. I do not know. I don't think we have any way of knowing because right now I have chocolate brown stars in my eyes. Like I'm blinded by the beauty of everything in this color. And I can't tell whether that passion is going to fade as quickly as it came about. I just don't know. I feel it's very Gen Z, like a knee-high brown suede boot. And I want a piece of that. Animal prints all over. I love it. I'm here for it because they're these beautiful neutral prints, right? They're prints, but they're always in the colors of a neutral wardrobe. It's the perfect way to add excitement, some print excitement to a neutral wardrobe while still feeling restrained in a way. And I like the way it's being done. I have bandwagoned this trend. COS came out with a merino wool set, turtleneck and leggings. I love that stretchy thin merino wool that they do like a crew neck and a turtleneck in. I have several. I love that fabric. And I wear those tops basically year round at this point because I have a couple of short sleeved ones. I bought it. I bought the set and I've never looked back. And it does. I feel like it works. It's not too much. Okay, this is a perfect example of how strangely and gratifyingly specific this list is. Wine-colored office attire. So she's not just saying like burgundy or oxblood are trending, right? Burgundy is trending. Oxblood is trending, that's what everybody else is. That's what all the other listicles are saying. Oxblood, burgundy, this deep red color, specifically wine-colored office attire. I'm going to see what it says. It's happy hour at work this winter with tailored separates, leather-inspired trench coats, and bomber jackets. Is that really what we're wearing to work? In a rich shade of Bordeaux. Make a statement with footwear by pairing oxblood-colored loafers and straight leg trousers. Just add gray socks to break up the look and keep you warm when the temperatures drop. I love the encouragement that we're getting to wear a monochromatic Bordeaux look. I love the suggestion to wear gray knit, gray and oxblood together. I really like that. That's so lovely. I like the specificity of this. I like the awareness of the fact that this color trend is going beyond just the color and actually it's about specific types of garments. In my lingo, it would be level 4. So polished, really polished, but not formal. That type of garment in this color is specifically what's trending. Structured loafers, coats, tailored trousers, those kinds of things in this color. And that's true. When I think about the images that I've seen that have made me want to wear this color, that is true. It's always been these kind of office attire level 4 types of things. I mean, I've also seen it in activewear. It just doesn't hit in the same way. It's not really making me want to wear it in a cotton knit or in a legging in the way that these jackets and trousers and loafers are making me want to wear them. So that's so true. It's so true. I hadn't noticed. It's so true. I knew that this color was trending. Hadn't noticed that it was specifically trending in polished clothing. But it's interesting to think about making that kind of distinction when a color trends. How do I feel about it? I love it. I like the way that I like the monochromatic execution. I like it as just an accessory, like a bag this color with a neutral outfit, a shoe this color with a neutral outfit. I really like that. But don't break the bank. This is one that is probably going to kind of come and go and will be identifiable next year when what's probably going to trend. The opposite of this, it'll probably be like olive green leather next winter, olive green accessories. And then if you're out there carrying your Bordeaux bag, some people might be, probably no one really will in real life. Everyone will probably be like, your bag's beautiful, but in the larger world of fashion, I guess it depends where you live, what you do. It's going to look like it's from this winter and you're carrying it again next winter, because the fresh color will be something different. So maybe keep that in mind if you're tempted to invest in like a really big piece in this color, like a beautiful loafer or a bag or something. But everything I've been seeing in this color is so beautiful. So if it really is you, and if it would be your forever satchel or whatever, like your forever work satchel, it's nice that they're available right now. Like you can find something really special. I feel like I've seen Koyana doing it. They're classic totes and bags that are so great and something that one can expect to last for years and years and years, like a forever work bag. But the limited edition color right now, right? The winter color is this, and it's so pretty. So it's nice. It's nice that it's available, but I feel like know thyself. Before you spring for this, know thyself. And that is it. That's the end of the list. Thanks for watching. Which trend are we the most excited about? Let me see. Clearly the one that has the most hold on me is chocolate brown. Like that's the one that I'm paying the most attention to. It really is espresso martini winter, and it has gotten into my bloodstream. Like I am just suddenly like, I get it, But I feel like it has a hold on me, and I'm not sure I want it to because I just don't feel confident. So I don't know if that's the one I'm the most excited about. I think it's minimalist accessories. That's the one I feel the most like pleased to see. But I like the way that the suede, velvet, rich, corduroy, luscious, heavy fabrics one. I like the way that makes me feel. I like what that makes me want to look for at the thrift store and what that makes me want to dig out of my own closet. I like that one a lot too. Which one are you most excited about? What have you been wearing? What has been getting in amongst you in spite of yourself, trend-wise? What have you been craving in fashion, etc., etc.? Let us know in the comments. Today we're going to take a look at some purported fall fashion trends and judge them. It's a little bit of a chaotic day already. I think I kind of overdid it with my eyebrows and I couldn't really scale it back. And the background is also kind of, to be frank, since we moved, I've never really turned it into anything, but that is on the schedule for the fall. And in the meantime, please forgive me. The chaos and the eyebrows are not going to detract from my ability to dig into these fashion trends. And in fact, let's get right into the meat of the video. So I went looking for like a listicle or an article from a reputable source to find out what's supposed to be trending. And the first thing I came across was this one from Vogue. And I was scrolling through it and it's just like rehashing everything, the most basic, boring, and also like zoomed out. So like the most vague trends that we've seen over the past several seasons and years. Boho, but for winter. I know I've talked about that so much. I'll link my other recent videos talking about trends. If you want to see how I feel about boho, which is just, it's a little too on the nose, you can watch those videos. Modern prep. Once again, these are like huge sweeping categories. It's almost like, when is boho not trending in that, like, when is it not available as a style? When is there ever a time when you can't go out into the world and be like, I dress in a boho style and I'm going to look for clothing that will complement that? Never. There's always an element of that. I just feel like that's too zoomed out to even really claim. Kind of the same with preppiness. Maximalism for minimalists is something that I'm personally kind of into. But again, I just feel like it's a little bit of a reach. It's like, yeah, a sculptural take on minimalism unhinged a little bit is what they're identifying as having seen on the runways. I'm uninspired by that assessment, right? I'm uninspired by that take. Lingerie dressing, which we've been seeing, it feels like for years at this point. And again, it's like, yeah, it's beautiful, but also, is it really fall? Maybe for evening wear or something. But this isn't the kind of thing that we are going to be wearing in the fall, like a lingerie-inspired slip dress. To what event? Again, maybe holiday party, maybe formal events, maybe blouses. Usually this type of thing is available every holiday season for holiday parties and for winter blouses. So I don't know. The first thing I'm roasting is this Vogue article, essentially. Uptown Punk. I'm very dissatisfied by this take as well because it's talking about leather and leopard and this one outfit with like giant metal balls all over it. And I do understand that they're talking about having sussed out a kind of edgy dinginess and a use of kind of thick, heavy materials, like metal hardware. But uptown and punk are contradictions in terms. And I feel, and so I think that it could have done better with like, explaining what this trend is supposed to be. 24/7 sequins for day. Love it so much. Always loved it. Never stopped loving it. But again, we've been talking about it in every video of this nature for the past couple of years. Not a fresh take. Country coded, countryside. I mean, maybe I shouldn't be blaming the people at Vogue for the fact that the same thing is still trending as like the last time I looked into trends on the runway. But no, because after briefly roasting this Vogue article, I'm going to go on to talk about another listicle presenting trends in a way that did make me excited. I thought it would be interesting to also let you know that I had this experience of finding this article and being like, give me something new. Give me something with which I can work. Anyway, I can't work with this. We've talked about this equestrian heritage. Like, gross. Anything that's like, no. I mean, I'm into barn jackets, but to me, barn jacket is like, I don't know, it has sort of like a back to my youth sloppiness about it. Like we're standing around a bonfire. That's what barn jacket is to me. And I understand that it does have a relationship to this country coded trend. Everything about this makes me want to vom. Yeah, we're not decamping to the family estate right now. Curious color combinations. Okay. I mean, I have a passing interest in this. I did recently try to style butter yellow and enjoyed it the most pretty much with colors, like with interesting color combinations. That's fine. But again, aren't we always trying to make interesting color combinations? Aren't designers always asking themselves what would be an interesting color combination? Like it's not saying, oh, we saw mint and red all over the runways. That would be trend spotting. Instead, it's saying offbeat color pairings, interesting color. Like what's trending is for designers to do something interesting with color. That is wild. Anyway, that article, this one is a no from me. Like we're not really learning anything from this. So I went on and I looked for something more and I came across the same type of thing in harpersbazaar.com. And this is giving me a lot more to work with. And this is the article that I'm going to use to structure the video. So that first thing was just like a little eye roll. Here's what Harper's Bazaar has noticed on the runways. More specific, more original, also fresher. Like these are things that we haven't been seeing over and over again. A little bit of overlap with what I just reviewed, much more than that. First up, apparently the runways are covered in giant faux fur coats, faux fur outfits, faux fur everywhere. The article opens and says it was one trend that dominated more than any other on the catwalk for fall 2025. Faux fur. Impossible to ignore. Almost every major fashion house featured it in their collections. That's the kind of thing I want to know, right? Because I wasn't there and I didn't watch a lot of coverage of it and I haven't been really like deep in that world. So this is the kind of thing that I appreciate. Faux fur has been heavily criticized for being mostly made out of plastic, which is fair. You know, I mean, I think that a lot of fashion manufacturing is unsustainable for a lot of different reasons. And there's a lot of clothing that is made out of plastic out there, not just faux fur. But I think that it's particularly noticeable because the garments are so bulky. So I guess take this trend with a grain of awareness of that. That aside, if we're just assessing it aesthetically from the viewpoint of like a desire for stylistic longevity, like something that you can wear and wear and wear even after it's out of style. Faux fur, it gives me everything I want, right? The drama, the texture, the neutral colors, the longevity, meaning like I think that a fur coat or a faux fur coat and something that's a dramatic statement piece of outerwear like this is never going out of style. Again, with that caveat, you know, with that knowledge of the dark side of it, which again exists throughout the fashion industry, just in the abstract, aesthetically, I love it. I don't know if that means I'll be getting a faux fur coat myself for lifestyle reasons, kind of for me, because I don't live in a big city. I think if I did, I might be more likely to want to have something like this, maybe getting it secondhand. Here where I live, I think the level of drama would be very high for my everyday life for a coat like this. And if I didn't have any coat and I was looking for the coat, like a winter coat, the only one, then maybe I would lean into that because I do lean into that in some ways. I usually just wear what I want and often I'm overdressed or like serving looks when I don't need to be because I enjoy it. But I have other coats. And so I could just see myself if I owned a coat like this, usually picking a less splashy coat instead of it. And for that reason, it wouldn't be a good buy for me personally. Next up, lovely, lovely lace. So this is so much better, again, of an assessment than the other listicle that we looked at, which was like lingerie inspired clothes. This is much more specific than that. And it's saying that lace specifically has been on the runways very recently. Lace also goes around and comes around and is never really out of style. You know what I mean? Lace always has something, and it always kind of gives the same thing. Delicacy, femininity. Apparently brands have been mixing it up with unexpected color combinations of lace this year. It's fine. Depending on the lace, some lace that's sort of chunkier and more graphic and very palpably quality, like cotton lace, you know, I'm really drawn to. I'm not beyond the point in my life when I would buy or wear something made out of lace, but it has to be really specific. It has to be weighty in a way and kind of have that tactile quality that I was talking about really liking. A lot of lace, it's like too flimsy, too fussy, too frilly for me. It doesn't strike me as something that I'm necessarily going to capitalize on as someone who's always kind of like paying attention to what's trending because it's going to trickle down to the secondhand market. I'm excited when I see something on these lists that's something that I know is my style for life and the kind of thing that I will wear over and over and over again, because it means it's about to be more readily available. And I don't necessarily feel that way about lace. I can kind of take it or leave it. But I do think that it is timeless for people who love it and wear a lot of it. A timeless trend is the one that I appreciate. All right, now we're getting into the good stuff. Brown is still the new black, and I'm happy to hear it, and I love to see it. I am so all in. I'm seeing a lot of very dark brown in this imagery. I love the nod to the 70s and the return of brown. I love the nod to the 90s and the return of brown. I love seeing brown in makeup to reflect the fact that it's coming back so strong in fashion and not going anywhere. I, on a personal level, was kind of starting to tire of black a little bit. I had grown to really appreciate the way in which black can be the backbone of a wardrobe and so dependable recently. Like, it was just happening over the past couple of years that it was really coming around. And I had just gotten to the point where I was like, oh, I know the thing to do would be to get this garment in black. Like, gonna buy a skirt or something. Like, I know that the smart thing to do, the minimalist thing to do, the slow fashion thing to do would be to buy it in black, because that's like me building a wardrobe for longevity, something that I'm never gonna get tired of, something that's classic. But I have so much already that's black. Do I really need another black thing? Like that, I was just starting to think that a lot. And then brown came on the scene, and it does everything and is everything that black is, with some delicious depth and nuance. So I'm really here for it. I love brown. I love what brown has been doing for us lately. Espresso martini winter last year, is that what it was? We're going for espresso martini half decade. Okay, this surprised me. This is something I didn't know. The pencil skirt is on. It's something that I wasn't aware that we were getting back into pencil skirts. And I think I wouldn't have guessed it. If you had given me a list of like 10 trends that I didn't have any context for, and you were like, which 5 of these are actually things that have been on the runway a lot, and which 5 did we just make up? And pencil skirts, if that was on there, I probably would have thought it was one of the ones that you just made up. So why? I'm going to read actually the listicle for a second and see what they think. Well, they're not really giving me any theory. I guess that's what I'm here for. I'm supposed to provide the theory. But it's saying that pencil skirts, we're seeing them both as suiting, like something you'd wear to the office, sort of a bold, minimalist, almost blocky pencil skirt with a suit jacket that matches it, so as part of a suit. And also in evening wear, where we're seeing a slinkier, more fitted pencil skirt just over the knees, which I actually really love. That's a silhouette of skirt that I used to wear a lot when I danced a lot, that I used to design a lot when I designed clothes for tango dancers. I really love that silhouette for evening wear. I think it's classic. I have personal history with it. Oh, I think it's really beautiful. I love the imagery here that's showing the way in which pencil skirts are making it into evening wear, or sort of shining in evening wear. The pencil skirts for suit jacket, it looks really 80s to me. It's fine. How could it possibly be better than pants? That's kind of how I feel. Like, if you're gonna wear a suit, I don't know. If I lived a life where it made sense to wear a suit like this a lot, I would be loath to give up the high-waisted trousers, the wide-leg trousers, the oversized trousers, the really like menswear inspired full suit. This just does not come close to that for me right now. Yes to the evening wear, not for me to the suit, the pencil skirt suit. Okay, this is interesting. Dare to bare, meaning naked dressing. So dressing in a way where a lot of skin is showing. Again, we have nuance that the other listicle wasn't providing. What we've been seeing is like sheer. I've been seeing for maybe 2 years. It's been popping up and phasing out of forecasts of of trends, sheer and semi-sheer garments, I really love. I always love it. And that has also had some crossover with like the lingerie inspired and all of that, which this also kind of does. But this is basically saying what we've been flirting with, which is sheer garments, lingerie inspired garments, sheer fabrics, has evolved to a more extreme point than it had gotten to at any time over the past 2 years. It has gone all the way to what we're calling naked dressing. So wearing something so sheer or so revealing that you kind of might as well be naked, or you can really see parts of the body that are usually covered up. I feel like this is a thing that we see on catwalks from time to time, in high fashion from time to time. It's a very envelope pushing move for a garment or for a person wearing clothes or for a designer putting stuff on the runway, because it's crossing over past the edge of what most people feel comfortable in, what is acceptable, like what propriety will accept socially in most settings. So in most settings out in the world, it is quite radical, if not illegal, or like not actually possible to get away with wearing something that's this revealing. And then there are some settings, some clubs, you might say, some parties, some social situations in which it is okay. So it's sort of like a nod to places and settings that are more liberated and more accepting, you know, like more open-minded. So I kind of like that. I like this. I like anything that kind of pokes at a societal discomfort that reveals conservatism. You know what I mean? Like a societal discomfort that reveals a way in which we are held back as people. I think that's why when I see this, I'm like, I mean, also it's hot. Right? It's hot. And I guess there's a time and place for that, or most people feel there's a time and place for that. Some of these garments are a little bit weird in construction and a little bit off-putting, but for the most part, when this is being deployed, it's quite beautiful and, again, subversive in a way. And I tend to go for that. It's artistic, you know? I mean, the pencil skirt, it's like a silhouette that has been worn throughout the years. It has like history, references to past centuries, references to past designers. Bringing it back and sort of reframing it is interesting. That's fine. This sort of naked dressing, sheer layers, it has some of that, but mostly it's very now and very future, and it's very artistic. I love it. Okay. Soft, slouchy bags. It's like they're doing it for me. One of the things I've learned about myself over the past couple of years, and I've learned this by gathering images, paying really close attention to what I'm drawn to, paying really close attention to what feels right when I wear certain things and not other things, and, you know, making a bunch of videos for YouTube about style. And so having to really put words to what I observe with my own fashion choices, my own outfits. One of the things I've learned is that when it comes to handbags, I prefer a bit of softness. Soft structure is fine. I find it's easier for me to get along with something that has at least a little bit of slouch in its design. So this is perfect for me. Not that I need a bag, not that I'm shopping for a handbag right now. I just appreciate that my understanding of what works in a handbag seems to be very aligned with that of the fashion industry. It sort of calls into question how much of my own personal instinct experience with garments and accessories is just completely inherent to me, like in a vacuum. So I'm over here saying, oh, I was just starting to get sick of, coincidentally, brown came on the scene right when I was just starting to get sick of black. Coincidentally, soft, slouchy handbags are all over the runways right at the moment when I was starting to realize that I prefer a soft, slouchy handbag. But is it coincidence? Is it? Or am I being sort of like subtly informed by the trends that are happening? Or are we all realizing it at the same time? Are we all like connected on a subterranean level, like sipping from the same aesthetic well, and we don't even know it? And so it's like the same things occurring to everyone at the same time. I don't know. That's what's interesting about trends. In any case, all of these bags are beautiful. So leopard print, in the bad Vogue listicle, they were like uptown punk. Here, they're just saying, well, we saw leopard print all over the runway. And they even say in this article, it's one of those trends that cycles back around every few seasons and never truly goes out of style. But this season, it went from just outerwear, which is what it's been dominating the past few years, to dresses, accessories, knitwear, skirt suits, like everything leopard everything. I love it because leopard is a neutral. It really reads as a neutral, but it's print. I feel like it's the perfect print for a minimalist. And so I love to see it. But my main reason for appreciating saying this trend is what they say, that it never goes out of style and you can just truly never go wrong with it. The day is not going to come where it's like, that leopard print coat that you have is so XYZ year, you know? It always comes back around. And even trends that I don't personally love, although I did buy like a leopard print merino wool shirt and leggings last year, so I'm glad to know that I'll still be on trend to wear them again this winter. But even if I'm not into a trend, if I feel confident that it is something timeless and something that's not going to look outdated soon or really ever, then that's a trend that I'll get behind in theory, again, whether I wear it or not. Capey drapey outerwear. I kind of feel, well, can a coat ever go out of style? A gorgeous piece of outerwear. Tell me this. A gorgeous piece of outerwear. Yes, if you happen to know what the coat of the winter is, like maybe it's this winter, maybe it's going to be these capey drapey things. If you happen to know what the coat of the winter is and you get it, then that winter you're going to be wearing the coat of the winter. You will be in like the it coat. But the following winter, when a different coat is the coat of the winter, maybe next year it's going to be like extremely structured knee-length coats or something, and then these capey drapey coats will no longer be the coat of the moment. But when that happens, is your capey drapey coat going to have lost any visual power, any cachet? No, because a coat like this, good outerwear is timeless, always. As long as it's not completely outlandish, right? As long as it's not just like this year, I don't know, like fluorescent pink coats with eyelet lace ruffles in the edges are all very specifically trending. But that doesn't really happen with outerwear, because outerwear, it's something that you have to wear every day, wear with all of your outfits. It's like got this built-in practical aspect to it. That means that it has to be versatile. I'm happy with every coat trend. This, I see it and I'm like, I have several things. So my rant is over now about whether or not this is going to go out of style or stay in style. Or I guess it was a rant about whether you can ever say that a certain kind of coat is trending, or maybe just a rant about how you shouldn't worry about your coat. Anyway, I love drape in general in clothes. I love artistic drape. This is kind of the outerwear version of of what I liked about the naked dressing trend. It's artistic, it's unstructured. However, when I look at these, they look a little bit unwieldy and heavy. I had a coat like this when I was younger for a long time. It was like my main winter coat for a really long time. And so I think there's a little bit of a personal thing going on with this where it feels like past Hannah vibes. So I probably will be buying a coat like this. For me, the dream winter coat is still like softly structured, clean cut, really long, thick, heavy coat. I still want that sort of simplicity, that oversized draped, clean simplicity rather than all of these sort of like waterfall edges. That's where I am with this. I'm out of sync, I guess, with designers when it comes to outerwear. But I don't think that this is a bad coat trend because I don't think such a thing exists. Unexpected belting. It makes me think someone's gonna like sneak up behind me and put a belt on me really quickly and I'll be like, I've been unexpectedly belted. I guess what they mean by this is just belts of all sorts of shapes and sizes. I'm not that into it. I did become a belt girl recently. I got a belt. I've gotten several belts, but they're not unexpected. They're just regular. I mean, they're pretty, but you know, you just put them through the belt loops. I haven't been using them unexpectedly. Wearing multiple belts, I'm just not that into it. It's like, for what? It's ostentatious. It's unnecessary. It's not that it's not beautiful in its own way and sort of textural and layered in its own way, but there's nothing about this belt moment that makes me want to do that. I'm fine with just wearing belts and the belt loops of my pants to add some dimension to my outfits and in some cases hold up the pants. And finally on this list, love this, the school shoe. And love they're calling it the school shoe. And I love these awkward, long, floppy, loafer, leather shoes. Like, I love this weird shoe that they're discussing. And I also love the place that this article is saying this shoe has occupied in fall winter fashion. It says, in some ways it was a season of boom boom fashion. But when it came to footwear, amidst some very over-the-top styles, there was much in the way of practicality too. In fact, one of the most prominent accessories you spotted on the catwalks was the school shoe. So brogues, loafers, chunky flats, patent slip-ons. I'm just so glad to hear this because I love a shoe like this. In fact, let me show you. I just received these loafers as a gift from this brand, LOQ. They are a little bit milkier in person. I feel like the shine on them is making them look almost like a darker brown than they are. To me, they're a bit of a milkier chocolate brown in person and a little bit less shiny, but I like that. I like how they look in person better than the way they're looking in my monitor right now. But maybe once the footage is rendered, you'll see exactly how they look. Aren't these beautiful? I'm so excited to wear these. But it's funny, when you wear a shoe like this, it depends on what you put it with, but it can sometimes feel a little bit like, it's like that enchantingly drab footwear, you know, especially if you're wearing something else boom boom or something else that's eye-catching. But I like that. It's sort of like scratching an itch in me, this sort of the practical shoe with high fashion, or the practical shoe as high fashion, kind of the tension between that and what else you're wearing. These do look very beautiful and elevated when I wear them with something like trousers, which is usually what I do, right? Like trousers, oversized trousers, something that matches the overall aesthetic of them. But if you put them with something like a skirt, like a lace skirt or something, then they take on this edge that I think is what they're kind of talking about in this listicle, where there's like a slight tension between the splashiness of what you're wearing and the choice of practical footwear. So it's again something that I had already kind of identified in my life as an enticing element of fall fashion to look forward to, because I haven't really been able to wear these yet. It's been so hot, and I couldn't be more delighted to have seen it show up on this list and confirm my suspicions and my expectations. A loafer is just a great shoe. So that is it. Fall fashion. There's a lot to like. I feel like there's a lot that's comfortable, a lot of texture. I don't know. I sense sort of like a balance between femininity and masculinity going on. I'm really interested in balancing hardness with softness in fashion, and I feel like I'm not alone in that interest based on what I'm seeing in these images and what I'm reading about. It's like we're in this moment of draping ourselves in fabric, dousing ourselves in fabric, padding around the place in our comfortable broken in loafers. Things are a bit slouchy. Comfort matters, but there's room for the statement of something like colorful lace or the sexiness of something like a totally sheer shirt with nothing underneath. It's a kind of balance that makes sense to me. It's feeling approachable in a way that trends don't always and high fashion doesn't always. So let me know what you think. What do you already have in your wardrobe that aligns with this? I think that's always the most exciting question. Going through this and being like, oh yeah, I have a pencil skirt. I still have a pencil skirt that I haven't worn in a long time. Or I've got a lot of brown clothes. Or I have some broken in loafers. Or I do love lace and this is definitely my time. That's the other thing. I feel like there are a lot of things on this list specifically that people probably already have. I didn't really come across a trend here that was like, oh, in order to experiment with this trend, everyone's going to have to go out and buy something. I hope you're excited to get dressed. I am now. I'm excited to get dressed. I'm ready to bring out the knitwear. It's not quite time yet. I'm starting to get excited about getting excited about dressing for fall. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget to take extra good care of yourself so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.